Chapter 246. Bang! Miao Yan, who had just rushed to Shaolin Yu's side, was kicked in the stomach by Shaolin Yu, and his body flew out. Puff! Puff! Miao Yan spat out mouthfuls of blood, and his face was as pale as paper. He couldn't understand how the other party could attack so quickly when he had just ascended. Boy, I want you dead. Fang Yu was furious. His body suddenly jumped up, and while rushing toward Shaolin Yu again, he opened his mouth and spat out a black light. The black light expanded with the wind, and in a flash, it had turned into a black thorn. Impudent! The hunchbacked old man in charge had appeared out of nowhere. With a loud shout, he stood in front of Shaolin Yu. With a wave of his sleeve, a powerful aura surged out. Not only did it sweep away the black thorn, but it also pushed Fang Yu a few feet away. This is the Imperial Beast Hall, not a battle arena. If you want to behave atrociously here, you have to ask for my permission first. The old man in charge reprimanded with a dignified face. Senior brother Zhang, why didn't you come out when he hit me just now? Fang Yu asked angrily. If you didn't come looking for trouble, how could a mere Earth Demon disciple dare to attack you? If you don't accept it, you can go back and look for Martial Uncle Lu, or you can go directly to the sect master to reason. The old man in charge snorted coldly. Fang Yu's face became even uglier. He was in the Heavenly Demon stage, and the other party was only in the Earth Demon stage. With such a great disparity in strength, he was actually the one who was beaten. If he went to his master, he was afraid that he would be scolded. After all, this matter was very embarrassing for his master. If he went to the sect master, he was afraid that at this time, this matter would quickly spread throughout the sect. No matter what, this matter happened in the Imperial Beast Hall, and he was the one who hurt me. Senior brother Zhang, as the steward of the Imperial Beast Hall, you have the responsibility to give me an explanation. Fang Yu thought for a while and said hatefully. The old steward smiled and said, you were the one who provoked me first, and Shaolin Yu hit me after that. This is the principle that two hands can't clap. However, even if you provoked her, as a fellow disciple, Shaolin Yu should not have hurt you. If you insist on seeking an explanation from me, I can punish the person who did it. Senior brother Zhang, please give us justice. My lord, please punish Shaolin Yu severely. Fang Yu and Miao Yan, who had just crawled up from the bed, spoke one after another. All right. The hunchbacked old man also shouted. Then, he said to Shaolin Yu in a seemingly just and dignified manner, you're not allowed to go out for the next 500 years. You'll have to do the work of two people. Furthermore, all the magic crystals given by the sect will be deducted. At this point, the hunchbacked old man paused and asked, do you have any objections to this punishment? Shaolin Yu clenched her fists and said with a calm expression, I have no objections. In fact, in her heart, Shaolin Yu was overjoyed because these punishments did not affect her at all. After all, this punishment was given by the hunchbacked old man. The hunchbacked old man could remove it at any time. As for the salary penalty, Shaolin Yu did not care about the one low-grade magic stone that the East Pole Demon sect gave every 10 years. Junior brother Fang, do you have any objections? The hunchbacked old man asked Fang Yu again. Fang Yu's expression changed again and again. In the end, he could only nod and leave. Even if he knew that the hunchbacked old man was helping Shaolin Yu, he could not do anything. After all, this kind of shameful thing was really not suitable to be blown up. Moreover, Fang Yu's heart was now very puzzled. The other party was only at the Earth Demon stage. How could he slap me when I attacked first? It was absolutely impossible for an Earth Demon stage cultivator to have such fast speed. But he had clearly just ascended, hadn't he? Could it be that Jiang Kuei cheated? This guy did not just ascend? Or did he ascend after going through the 9 tribulations? Fang Yu touched his swollen and painful cheek while thinking in his heart. Although he did not want to make a big deal out of this matter, he would definitely not let it go. This time, he suffered a loss because he did not investigate the other party's background clearly and acted rashly. He absolutely could not suffer the same loss again. Therefore, he had to know more. After Fang Yu and Miao Yan left, the hunchbacked old man said to Shaolin Yu, "Fang Yu is not a magnanimous person. You have to be careful in the future. As for the punishment, it was just for show. You don't have to take it to heart." And Shaolin Yu nodded softly. He did not take the matter just now to heart. Fang Yu and he were not at the same level at all. He would not care about what methods Fang Yu would use to retaliate in the future. Even his master could not do anything to me and was beaten up. Whatever he does is in vain. Shaolin Yu disdainfully said in his heart. "What do you think about the competition?" the hunchbacked old man suddenly asked. The hunchbacked old man had previously doubted Shaolin Yu's strength. When Shaolin Yu came back safely from the woman surnamed Lu, his doubts became even stronger. Just now, he saw Shaolin Yu slap Fang Yu's face with his own eyes. In his heart, he was almost certain that this guy's strength was definitely not as simple as it seemed on the surface. Even if he had really just ascended, he should have gone through the 9 tribulations. "I won't participate," Shaolin Yu replied. Hearing Shaolin Yu's answer, the hunchbacked old man smiled slightly and did not ask any more questions. He only said, "It's good that you don't participate this time. There will be opportunities in the future." In the next few months, Shaolin Yu was very busy. However, he was not tired. Now, he was only responsible for more than 2,000 cubs. When he first arrived at the Imperial Beast Hall, he could feed more than 3,000 cubs at a time. Besides, this was also a way to repay King Tai and Hao Ren. They had helped him, so he couldn't be too stingy. However, with his strength, he didn't need to be so stingy. Shaolin Yu was already very proficient in feeding the cubs. In the process of feeding, he could also divide his attention to comprehend the devil curse technique. So, it wasn't a waste of time. A few months passed in a flash. In the blink of an eye, the day of the East Pole Devil Sect's elite disciple selection had arrived. Although the East Pole Devil Sect was a third-rate sect, it could still be considered as a first-rate sect. The overall scale of the sect wasn't small. In particular, the number of Earth Devil and Heavenly Devil disciples was not small. This time, more than 300 Earth Devil disciples had signed up for the competition. And, more than 40 Heavenly Devil disciples had signed up for the competition. With so many people fighting, it was bound to consume a lot of time. During this time, the East Pole Devil Sect would be very lively and many things would happen. Shaolin Yu didn't have much interest in joining in the fun. However, he had already promised King Tai and Hao Ren that he would watch the competition. At least, Shaolin Yu wanted to see the competition between the two of them. Shaolin Yu wouldn't treat others half-heartedly if they were sincere to him. This was his principle in life. There was a fighting arena in the center of the East Pole Devil Sect's encampment. It covered a large area. It looked more like a football field on Earth. However, this fighting arena was dozens of times bigger than a football field. A slightly bigger football field on Earth could accommodate more than 50,000 people. But, this fighting arena could accommodate hundreds of thousands of people. The entire East Pole Devil Sect only had a few thousand people. Therefore, even though most of the East Pole Devil Sect's cultivators had arrived at the fighting arena, it still looked very spacious. The fighting arena was surrounded by grandstands. And, there was a large area in the center. It was divided into 10 sections. So, 20 people could enter the arena in each round. King Tai and Hao Ren were also very hard-working. Both of them had advanced to the initial stage of Earth Devil before the start of the competition. Moreover, both of them were arranged for the third round of the competition. Shaolin Yu arrived at the fighting arena after the start of the first round. He casually found an empty corner and stared at the center of the arena. The first to fight were all disciples in the Earth Devil realm. To Shaolin Yu, their fight was no different from a fight between children. It was really boring. It was very difficult for a disciple to appear that could make his eyes light up. It was very boring to watch. Before the third round began, a person walked over to them. The person who came was the steward of the Hall of Fame that Shaolin Yu had met when he first arrived at the East Pole Devil Sect. He was Old Manly, who had been at the peak of the late stage of Heaven Devil realm for many years. What is he doing here? Seeing Old Manly smile at him, Shaolin Yu responded with a smile. He was puzzled. At this time, Shaolin Yu suddenly remembered that after he arrived at the Imperial Beast Hall, Old Manly had intended to transfer him from the Imperial Beast Hall to the Hall of Fame. It was just that he didn't agree at the time. In other words, this steward of the Hall of Fame had actually noticed him long ago. However, Shaolin Yu couldn't be sure why he had noticed him, and what he had noticed about him. Greetings, seniorly. When Old Manly stopped in front of him, Shaolin Yu could only greet him. He felt that this old man wasn't simple, so he didn't want to neglect him. "Ha, sit, sit. There's no need to be so polite," Old Manly said with a smile. Then, he sat down in the seat next to Shaolin Yu. Shaolin Yu also sat down, but didn't speak first. He didn't know the other party's background or intentions. It was best to speak less to avoid exposing himself. In terms of vigilance, Shaolin Yu, who had experienced many storms, was much stronger than ordinary cultivators. "Brother Shao, you didn't sign up for the selection this time, right?" Old Manly asked after a moment of silence. "No," Shaolin Yu softly replied. "With Brother Zhao's aptitude, there's no need for you to participate in this kind of selection," Old Manly said meaningfully. Shaolin Yu's heart skipped a beat. This Old Manly really wasn't simple. He was afraid that Old Manly had seen through his true cultivation. Although he was nervous, his expression didn't change as he replied, "Senior praises me too much." In front of this kind of person, Shaolin Yu knew that he had to speak less. No matter what Old Manly said or what he saw, he had to continue pretending. Only then could he save himself some trouble. "I like how careful you are. However, you've been in the East Pole Devil sect for some time now. You've already revealed quite a bit. I'm afraid that it won't be long before you reveal even more." After another moment of silence, Old Manly suddenly said meaningfully. Chapter 247. Although he had many questions in his heart, Shaolin Yu still refused to speak, and continued to stare at the center of the stage with a dull expression. At this time, the third round had already begun. Wang Tai and Haoren had both entered the stage. Their luck was average, and they didn't draw a late Earth Demon expert, but their opponents weren't early Earth Demon either. Both of them were mid-Earth Demon cultivators. Their cultivations were much lower than their opponents, and both of them had just advanced to early Earth Demon. They hadn't even begun to cultivate Earth Demon techniques and divine abilities. Shaolin Yu had reason to believe that these two fellows wouldn't last more than 3 moves before being defeated. "I don't know why you joined the East Pole Devil sect, and why you accepted the Devil sect's soul restriction, but you can't possibly hide your cultivation and stay in the East Pole Devil sect for too long." Old Manly seemed to kindly remind him. "What if I'm exposed?" Shaolin Yu asked indifferently. "If you are exposed, no one will think that you have good intentions. They will only think that you have ulterior motives. At that time, you will have to face the encirclement of the true demon stage experts of the East Pole Demon sect. Even if you have some divine ability and don't fear the true demon stage experts, don't forget that the East Pole Demon sect still has a spirit demon." Old Manly whispered. "I should be the one worrying about this. Why are you reminding me?" Shaolin Yu smiled and asked. "If you can come to the Hall of Fame, I can help you hide for a bit longer, so you won't be exposed," Old Manly said. "If I really have bad intentions and you take me in, aren't you afraid of being implicated?" Shaolin Yu asked noncommittally. "If you're in the Hall of Fame, without my permission, you can't do anything big in the East Demon sect," Old Manly said confidently. "If that's the case, won't I have to live under your surveillance?" Shaolin Yu sneered. "I have no intention of monitoring you. I'll only give you some pointers to prevent you from going astray. Also, I have something to tell you." Old Manly shook his head and explained. "If you have something to say, you can say it here. You don't have to go to the recording hall to say it, right?" Shaolin Yu asked, unmoved. The fight between Wang Tai and Haoren had come to a conclusion. However, Shaolin Yu was surprised to see that both of them had been on the verge of defeat. But, both of them had turned defeat into victory at the same time. They had revealed their trump cards, and had sent their opponents off the stage. So, both of them had obtained victory. Things often go beyond one's expectations, ha. Old Manly laughed as if judging. Being unexpected is not necessarily a good thing. I think everyone prefers to be able to control the overall situation and not want to complicate matters, Shaolin Yu said meaningfully. I'll ask the Imperial Beast Hall for more people. If you don't want to come, then I won't be a busybody. After saying this, Mr. Li stood up and left the arena not long after. After Wang Tai and Hao Ren's victory, they both walked over to Shaolin Yu. Although they had both been injured, they still had smiles on their faces. Congratulations, congratulations. I really didn't expect the two of you to be so fierce on the stage. Shaolin Yu pretended to congratulate them and praised them. Haha, our skills can't compare to yours. We were only able to win by pure luck, Hao Ren said with a smile. That big move you used just now, even if you met a late Earth demon, you might still have a chance. Just based on that, it's very likely that you'll be valued by the experts of the sect, Shaolin Yu said truthfully. That's not necessarily true. Our opponents just now didn't know much about us and underestimated us. That's why we suddenly used a big move to ambush them. If our opponents had been more careful, it wouldn't have been so easy for us to win, Wang Tai said. Anyway, winning is always a good thing. Let's go back first, Shaolin Yu said and led the two out of the arena. When Shaolin Yu arrived at the entrance of the arena, he met the woman surnamed Lu. He gave her a faint smile, but the woman's originally smiling face suddenly sank. She snorted and turned her head away, as if she didn't want to look at Shaolin Yu any longer. Shaolin Yu shook his head with a wry smile and didn't greet her. He and the woman surnamed Lu had an agreement that they would act as if they didn't know each other when they met in the sect. Neither of them could say anything about the other. The schedule of the competition was very loose. It was to give the disciples who had just fought a chance to recover or fight again. There was still half a month before Hao Ren and Wang Tai's next fight. After returning to the Valley of the Imperial Beast Hall, the two humbly asked Shaolin Yu for advice. They asked Shaolin Yu to point out their flaws in the fight and give them advice. Although Shaolin Yu didn't understand the two's cultivation methods, after all, his realm was much higher than theirs. He could see a lot of things clearly. In addition, Shaolin Yu himself had experienced countless battles. His fighting awareness was very high. Naturally, he could give a lot of useful advice to the two. Hao Ren and Wang Tai were able to cultivate to the great ascension stage in the cultivation world. Naturally, they weren't stupid people. After listening to Shaolin Yu's advice, they benefited a lot and immediately went into seclusion to meditate. They both felt that if they could understand Shaolin Yu's words, even if their realm didn't improve, their fighting strength would improve a lot. In fact, everyone knew that the competition between cultivators was nothing more than a competition of skills, realms, magical weapons, and cultivation methods. These could be regarded as hardware. Fighting awareness was how to use one's hardware, which was regarded as software. The final result of the fight depended not only on the hardware, but also on the software. Shaolin Yu wouldn't help Hao Ren and Wang Tai improve their hardware, but he didn't mind helping them upgrade their software. Wang Tai and Hao Ren's second fight hadn't started yet. The hunchbacked old man found Shaolin Yu again and said that the steward of the Hall of Fame was inviting Shaolin Yu again. Shaolin Yu had already thought about this problem, so he gave a straightforward reply of rejection. The steward of the Hall of Fame was so attentive that Shaolin Yu was very suspicious. He didn't want to stay with a person he didn't know the depth of. Furthermore, the steward of the Hall of Fame obviously had a motive for inviting him over. He might even be scheming against Shaolin Yu. Naturally, Shaolin Yu wouldn't fall into a trap. Actually, the steward of the Hall of Fame has always been a good person. He often gives guidance to the disciples of the sect. If you go, he will certainly take care of you. Moreover, our Imperial Beast Hall isn't a good place. You won't have any future if you stay here. Shaolin Yu didn't wait for the steward to finish speaking and said, "Sir, there's no need to persuade me. I want to stay in the Imperial Beast Hall. At least this place is quieter than other places." The steward thought for a moment and could only sigh and leave. Shaolin Yu could guess that the old man surnamedly in charge of the Hall of Fame must have given Shaolin Yu a pass or given him some pressure. Otherwise, the steward of the Imperial Beast Hall wouldn't have persuaded him like that. After all, the hunchbacked old man was sincere in wanting Shaolin Yu to stay. 20 days passed by in a hurry. Wang Tai and Howren also welcomed their second match. In the second match, Wang Tai and Howren were lucky. Not only did they not encounter a late Earth Demon opponent, but they also faced early Earth Demon opponents. Even late Earth Demon cultivators had to be careful when facing their big moves. Early Earth Demon cultivators couldn't resist at all. They won without any surprise. After 2 eliminations, there were less than 100 Earth Demon contestants left, and only 12 Heavenly Demon contestants were left. It was still an elimination round. Most of the demonic cultivators' thoughts were straightforward and simple. They didn't have many tricks, and it was the same for organizing this kind of competition. However, what made Howren depressed was that his next opponent turned out to be Imperial Beast Hall's Miao Yin. Howren was not worried that he couldn't beat Miao Yin, but if he couldn't, it would be embarrassing. He didn't like to fight with villains. But this matter couldn't be changed even if he didn't want to. He had to face it and strive to defeat his opponent. But what made Shaolin Yu want to laugh was that Fang Yu unexpectedly met Jiang Kuei in the Heavenly Demon Realms arrangement. The arrangement chart was on a big bulletin board at the entrance of the arena. Many disciples of the Eastern Demon sect were watching it. Shaolin Yu also came here with Wang Tai and Howren. After looking at it, Shaolin Yu suddenly felt his shoulders sink. He turned his head and found that it was Jiang Kuei's hand on his shoulder. "Hey, boy, did you participate in the competition?" Jiang Kuei asked casually. "No." Shaolin Yu replied with a smile. Shaolin Yu had a good impression of Jiang Kuei. "Why didn't you participate? Don't tell me you haven't reached the Earth Demon Realm." Jiang Kuei looked very disappointed. Let's not talk about me first. You have to face Fang Yu this time. Are you sure you can win?" Shaolin Yu smiled and changed the topic. "Fang Yu is a villain. Defeating him will be as easy as stepping on a mouse," Jiang Kuei said confidently. Jiang Kuei's temper was very straightforward. His voice was not soft. The bulletin board was only so big and Jiang Kuei was so loud. Naturally, everyone heard him. Fang Yu was also here. When he heard Jiang Kuei shout, he walked over with a gloomy face. Miao Yan also followed behind him. "Senior Jiang, don't talk big too early. Although I call you Senior Jiang, it doesn't mean that you are much stronger than me," Fang Yu said with a straight face. "What? You're not convinced? Then let's use strength to speak in the arena," Jiang Kuei said with a disdainful look. "It's boring to compete. Why don't we add some stakes?" Fang Yu suggested. "You want to bet? You want to bet something, right? Very well, tell me what you want to bet. No matter what you want to bet, I will accept it," Jiang Kuei said straightforwardly. "I don't care about you. Let's bet with magic stones. Let's bet 100,000 medium magic stones. How about it?" Fang Yu said with a confident look. Chapter 248. 100,000 medium-grade magic stones were equivalent to 1,000 high-grade magic stones. This was not a small amount for any cultivator who had not reached the Devil King stage. Especially for the disciples of a third-rate sect like the East Pole Devil sect who were below the Devil King stage. Even if they were valued by the sect, it would be difficult for them to take out so many magic stones at once. After all, they would consume a lot of magic stones in their daily cultivation, and the magic stones given by the sect would not allow the disciples to save too much. Jiang Kuei was also a Heavenly Devil Realm cultivator valued by the experts of the East Pole Devil sect, but it was difficult for him to take out 100,000 medium-grade magic stones at once. In the East Pole Devil sect, the more diligent the cultivator was in cultivation, the less magic stones they had. For disciples of the Devil sect like Jiang Kuei and Fang Yu, if they wanted to have extra magic stones, they could only count on their masters to give them to them, or to make contributions to the sect to be rewarded. Jiang Kuei was an upright person and did not like to curry favor with the elders. The East Pole Devil sect had not had any big things for him to do, and now that his master was in seclusion, 100,000 medium-grade magic stones was really difficult for him. You have 100,000 medium-grade magic stones? Jiang Kuei asked, obviously not believing it. Even though Fang Yu had always been slick in social relations, and was deeply loved by his master and knew how to please the elders of the sect, it was not easy to save 100,000 medium-grade magic stones. I dare to bet with you, so naturally I have them, Fang Yu said confidently. I don't believe it. Take it out and show it to everyone, Jiang Kuei said. Okay. Fang Yu did not hesitate. He immediately took out a storage bag and unlocked the restriction on the bag. Everyone's consciousness sank into their storage pouches. They all sucked in a cold breath because their consciousness was filled with shining mid-grade devil stones. There were at least 100,000 of them. Jiang Kuei's face suddenly became gloomy. He had never been willing to admit defeat in front of Fang Yu. Today, at least, he would lose to him in terms of wealth. Ha, you have so many magic stones, but I don't. Let's change the bet. Jiang Kuei's face suddenly changed, and he said with a laugh. What else can I bet besides magic stones? If I bet my life, the sect won't allow me to bet. If I bet on magic weapons, you don't have any magic weapons that are suitable for me. Let's bet 100,000 medium-grade magic stones. With Senior Zhang's connections in the sect, you can't even get 100,000 magic stones, can't you? Fang Yu shook his head and said Jiang Kuei. When Jiang Kuei heard Fang Yu's suggestion, he couldn't help but raise his head and look around. But at this time, his fellow disciples, who were usually his brothers, had all shifted their gazes away from him. Some of them even took half a step back. Jiang. Jiang Kuei looked at Shaolin Yu doubtfully and replied, I only have 20,000 medium-grade magic stones. I'm short of 80,000. Fang Yu knows that I don't have that many magic stones, but he still wants to bet with me. He's deliberately making me embarrassed. Ha, if you didn't say those big words just now, you can ignore him now and wait for the battle to start. But if you turn around now, I'm afraid you'll be looked down upon in the future. I can lend you 80,000 medium-grade magic stones. Shaolin Yu smiled and said. How can I do that? Jiang Kuei subconsciously wanted to refuse. Don't be in a hurry to refuse. I have conditions. If you win the battle, you'll gain face and pay me back 80,000 medium-grade magic stones. If you lose, you'll owe me a favor. If you have the chance in the future, you'll do me a favor and return the favor. Will that do? Shaolin Yu continued to transmit his voice. Jiang Kuei hesitated for a moment and nodded. Okay. I'll do as you say. Fang Yu, I accept your bet. Don't worry, I'll definitely gather 100,000 medium-grade magic stones before the battle. All the disciples here can testify to that. Jiang Kuei then shouted loudly. What if you don't have enough when the time comes? Fang Yu asked relentlessly. Whatever you say. Jiang Kuei replied without hesitation. Shaolin Yu secretly shook her head. She felt that Jiang Kuei was too gullible. What if she was lying to him and he didn't have enough magic stones? Before the battle, if you don't have 100,000 medium-grade magic stones, you'll crawl under my crotch and bark 3 times like a dog. Fang Yu said with a smile. At least at the beginning, the initiative was in his hands. You! Jiang Kuei's eyes widened in anger and the corners of his mouth twitched. However, he controlled himself and did not fly into a rage on the spot. Instead, he said hatefully, Okay, I'll do as you say. However, I don't think 100,000 medium-grade magic stones is enough. Whoever loses will not only lose 100,000 medium-grade magic stones, but also have to crawl under the winner's crotch and bark 3 times like a dog. What do you think? Fang Yu smiled and nodded. This suggestion is to my liking. Senior brother Jiang, you've thought it through thoroughly. For a hot-blooded man of the devil path, losing a match and receiving that kind of punishment was definitely harder to accept than death. Fang Yu then swaggered off, followed by a group of disciples. Let's see how long you can be proud of yourself. Jiang Kuei stared at Fang Yu's back and said hatefully. Why are you so stubborn with him? When we get on the stage, just beat him until he cries for his parents, Shaolin Yu said. By the way, brother, do you really have 80,000 medium-grade magic stones? You can't fool me about this. Jiang Kuei retracted his gaze and asked anxiously. Not now. Shaolin Yu shook her head and said. Ah. Jiang Kuei became nervous. You'll have it in a few days. I wouldn't dare to joke about it. Shaolin Yu smiled and said, come to the Imperial Beast Hall and find me in 5 or 6 days. After saying this, Shaolin Yu took Wang Tai and Haoren back to the Imperial Beast Hall. Shaolin Yu didn't have 80,000 medium-grade magic stones on him, but he could go to the Heavenly Bandits in the Demon Scorpion Valley to get them. After returning to the Imperial Beast Hall, Shaolin Yu didn't hurry to go to the Demon Scorpion Valley. Instead, he took 4 hours to teach Wang Tai and Haoren. Just as he finished teaching them, Fang Yu came over with Miao Yin. What are you doing here? Wang Tai had a straightforward personality and was very clear about his likes and dislikes. He didn't have a good impression of these two people and asked bluntly. Wang Tai didn't have any enmity with these two, but he respected Shaolin Yu, and Shaolin Yu obviously didn't like these two, so he didn't like them either. His logic was simple and direct. We're here to congratulate the two of you. You've passed 2 rounds as early Earth demons. Your strength is really impressive. Fang Yu said with a smile. It's good that you're not here to make a bet. Shaolin Yu said pointedly. Wrong, we're here to make a bet. Fang Yu shook his head and then said, in the next round, Miao Yan will fight against Haoren. I don't have many magic stones on me, so I'm not interested in betting with you. Don't try to provoke me, I won't fall for it. Haoren interrupted and directly refused. I told you, he definitely won't dare to bet. With his insignificant strength, he'll definitely leave the stage in less than 3 moves. How could he dare to bet with me? Miao Yan said disdainfully. I told you, I won't fall for it. You'd better save it. Just because you have a sharp tongue doesn't mean your fists are hard. Haoren said indifferently. Forget it, since you don't dare to bet, let's go back. Miao Yan sighed. To be honest, he had seen Haoren's fight, and he wasn't sure if he could beat Haoren. If Fang Yu hadn't dragged him here today, he wouldn't have come to ask for a rebuff. The current Fang Yu probably wasn't afraid of Shaolin Yu, but Miao Yan couldn't muster up the courage to see Shaolin Yu again. That flying kick last time had left him with a lingering fear. Wait. Shaolin Yu said and asked, what do you want to bet? Fang Yu originally wanted to give up. After all, there was nothing he could do if the other party didn't want to bet. But after hearing Shaolin Yu's words, his eyes immediately lit up and he said, let's bet with magic stones again. Shaolin Yu shook his head and said, we all work in the Imperial Beast Hall and only receive 1 low-grade magic stone every 10 years. It's not enough for cultivation, so how can we have extra magic stones to bet? How about this, whoever loses will be responsible for taking care of all the cubs for 500 years. How about that? I think it's a good idea. Before Miao Yan could finish, Fang Yu agreed and dragged Miao Yan away. After Miao Yan and Fang Yu walked away, Haoren narrowed his eyes and said, they seem to be very confident. I guess there's some kind of trick in it. Even if there's no trick, they must be well prepared. For example, they've just learned some high-level magic or obtained some powerful magic weapon. Wang Tai nodded in agreement. It doesn't matter. If you lose, you lose. It's just taking care of the cubs for 500 years. In fact, we won't lose this bet. Shaolin Yu said confidently. Why won't you lose? Wang Tai was a little confused. Haoren thought for a moment and suddenly understood. He said in a low voice, We don't have the final say on who will take care of the cubs and how long they will take care of them. It's up to the steward. If I lose, the steward may not approve of this bet. If I win, the steward will certainly let Miao Yan do the work. Although it's not a sure win, it's definitely not a loss. It's good that you understand. But you'd better prepare well and strive to defeat Miao Yan. After saying this, Xiaoling Yu asked how Ren and Wang Tai to feed the cubs together. 2 days later, they left the Eastern Demon Sect. To Xiaoling Yu's surprise, most of the bandits of the Heavenly Bandits were not in the Demon Scorpion Valley. According to the bandits who stayed behind, several of their leaders had taken the main force of the bandits to carry out a mission. It would take them at least 7 or 8 days to return. Xiaoling Yu immediately sent a message to Zhu Jin. Zhu Jin replied soon after, saying that he wouldn't be able to return to the Demon Scorpion Valley for a month. Chapter 249. Xiaoling Yu had asked Jiang Kuei to look for him at the Imperial Beast Hall in 5 or 6 days, but 3.5 days had already passed. Xiaoling Yu was unable to deliver the Devil Stones to Jiang Kuei within the time limit he had promised. He did not want to break his promise, so after asking for the location of the Heavenly Bandits, he rushed there at full speed. Fortunately, there was a 20-day gap between the 2 rounds of the competition. As long as he could make it back before the competition began, it would not be too late. 3 days after leaving the demonic Scorpion Valley, Xiaoling Yu was less than a day's journey away from the Heavenly Bandits' location. However, he caught up with a group of bandits who were also moving at full speed. This group of bandits was moving in the same direction as Xiaoling Yu. It seemed like they were also rushing towards the Heavenly Bandits' location. Even if they were not going for the Heavenly Bandits, they would still have to pass by the Heavenly Bandits' temporary hiding place. There were about 150 bandits in this group of bandits. One of them was a Devil Lord in the advanced stage, 2 Devil Lords in the intermediate stage, and 5 Devil Lords in the beginner stage. With such strength, they could be considered a very strong group of bandits. If the Heavenly Bandits did not have the true demon stage experts, they would probably be defeated. For such a strong group of bandits to be moving at full speed without making a sound, they must have a more important mission to carry out. Although Xiaoling Yu had no intention of interacting with this group of bandits, he still slowed down slightly and quietly followed behind them. As his cultivation level was higher, the bandits naturally could not detect his presence. The Heavenly Bandits' current location was at the edge of a mountain range called the Chudang Mountain. It was said that they had joined forces with 2 other strong groups of bandits. Xiaoling Yu had sent a message to ask. The group of bandits he was following was not one of the 2 groups that were working with the Heavenly Bandits. As for why this group of bandits had come, Zhu Jin did not know. Of course, with Xiaoling Yu's reminder, Zhu Jin and the other leaders of the Heavenly Bandits would also make preparations to avoid being ambushed. Just as the bandit group was about to approach Chudang Mountain, they suddenly stopped and found a small forest to hide, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Xiaoling Yu felt that there was something fishy about this matter. Of all the places this bandit group could have stopped, they just had to stop less than 500 kilometers away from the heaven-smiting bandit group. He reckoned that there was something fishy going on here, so he stopped as well. He then used his consciousness to cover the small forest. Among the hundreds of people on the other side, there were no true demon stage existences. Naturally, no one was able to discover Xiaoling Yu's spying. At this time, under a big tree, several bandit leaders at the Devil King stage gathered together, all of them silent. After a long while, the Devil King late-stage bandit leader took out a communication pearl, and then said with a smile, "They are already in position and will soon meet up with the Heavenly Bandits. They asked us to attack together in 2 hours and destroy this group of guys who have been extremely arrogant recently." Ah, Heavenly Bandits? Their strength is average, but their tone is not small. A Devil King late-stage bandit laughed. They have indeed been a little too arrogant recently. They actually intend to annex us. They are really tired of living. A bandit leader echoed. It is said that there are true demon stage experts in the Heavenly Bandits. We should not underestimate them too much. A Devil King late-stage bandit said calmly. Whether or not the heaven-smiting bandit group truly has a true demon stage expert is another matter. However, even if they do, they will still be unable to escape this calamity. In order to be safe, the Meng family has sent 2 true demon stage experts over to help. In addition to our 3 bandit groups, the heaven-smiting bandit group will definitely be removed from the list of bandit groups forever. After the late-stage Devil King bandit leader replied to the message, he spoke with confidence. Hearing this, Xiaoling Yu already understood a little, and immediately sent a message to Zhu Jin. Then, with a flash, he turned into a silver light, rushed straight into the small forest, and landed under the big tree. When the silver light flew over, several bandit leaders were already vigilant, but before they could react, there was already one more person beside them. It could be seen that the strength of the person who came was far beyond them, so although they suddenly stood up with a solemn face, they did not dare to move. "I wonder what senior has come to visit us. What can we do for you?" The Devil King late-stage bandit cupped his fist respectfully and asked. "It's not a big deal. I just want to discuss a deal with you," Xiaoling Yu said with a smile with his hands behind his back. "What kind of deal? Please speak frankly, senior, we will definitely cooperate." The Devil King late-stage bandit seemed to be straightforward. "I want you to follow me in the future. What do you think?" Xiaoling Yu said calmly. The bandit leaders were all stunned, and then the Devil King late-stage bandit leader cupped his fist and said, "Junior doesn't understand senior's meaning. What I said is very profound, or did you not hear it clearly? What I mean is, you will recognize me as your boss in the future and listen to my orders. Of course, I will also take care of you. It's that simple," Xiaoling Yu said impatiently. "I understand senior's meaning. Senior wants to recruit us, but we are just bandits with low status. It's useless for senior to recruit us," the bandit leader responded. "Listening to your words, you want to refuse?" Xiaoling Yu said unhappily. "Senior, please don't misunderstand. We just want senior to reconsider," the bandit leader hurriedly explained. "There's no need to reconsider. I've already made up my mind. If you are willing to submit to me, you will naturally receive many benefits. If you are not willing, you might not know, but I hate being rejected the most." Xiaoling Yu's threat was very obvious. The bandit leaders pondered at the same time, and their expressions were very complicated. It was obvious that the newcomer should be a true demon expert. In terms of strength, he was definitely not weak and was enough to be their boss. However, they did not know the newcomer, so how could they rashly submit and entrust their lives to him? However, if they did not agree and the other party really attacked, although they had the advantage in numbers, they might not be able to win. Even if they could beat this person away, they would probably suffer heavy losses. My patience is limited. After waiting for a while, the other party did not give a response. Xiaoling Yu's face darkened, and he snorted coldly. The aura on his body began to gather, and a violent wind suddenly raged around him. If he wanted to subdue these bandit leaders, it was definitely impossible to not show some strength. Under the oppression of Xiaoling Yu's aura, the bandit leaders felt as if there was a mountain pressing down on their shoulders. The aura in their body gradually became chaotic, but their bodies were unable to move. Originally, the bandit leaders wanted to try to resist and see if they could beat the other party away, but now they all gave up this idea, because the other party could make them unable to move with just his aura. If they really fought, they were afraid that they would all die here. "Senior, please calm down. We are willing to follow senior from now on. We will follow senior's orders without any hesitation," the bandit leader shouted. "Make an oath," Xiaoling Yu said with a light expression. Hearing that they still had to make an oath, the bandit leaders' faces changed again, but in the end, they could only helplessly make a sole oath of allegiance. Originally, they wanted to perfunctorily wait for the Meng family's true demon expert to arrive, and then drive the other party away. It seemed that this plan was going to fail. Now I can tell you one thing. In fact, I am the leader of the heavenly bandits. After the bandit leaders finished making the oath, Xiaoling Yu restrained his aura and said with a smile. Hearing this, the bandit leaders' faces became more complicated, but they all remained silent. "Now, tell me about your plan to deal with the heavenly bandits." Xiaoling Yu casually found a place to sit down and then listened. 2 hours quickly passed. Xiaoling Yu let the bandit group go to Chudang Mountain according to the original plan, while he himself hid among the ordinary bandits. Only half an hour later, the bandit group had just arrived at the mouth of a mountain stream when they suddenly heard earth-shattering fighting sounds erupting in the mountain stream. According to the original plan, the bandit group didn't need to participate in the battle. They only needed to block the mountain stream exit, and the other 2 bandit groups were responsible for fighting the heavenly bandits in the depths of the mountain stream. In this way, the main force of the heavenly bandits could be wiped out in one fell swoop. The strength of the 2 bandit groups had already far surpassed the heaven-smiting bandit group. Coupled with the 2 true demon stage experts they had invited from the Meng family, no matter how united the heaven-smiting bandit group was or how strong their fighting strength was, they would still be completely annihilated. However, this group of bandits just happened to run into Xiaoling Yu while they were on their way. Their plan was doomed to fail. The 3 bandit groups had already agreed that as long as the bandit group accepted by Xiaoling Yu blocked the exit, it would be the time for them to act. However, as soon as the 2 bandit groups inside made their move, the heaven-smiting bandit group calmly charged towards the exit of the mountain stream. The 2 bandit groups also followed behind them at a moderate pace. However, what surprised them was that the cultivators of the heaven-smiting bandit group actually managed to exit the mountain stream very smoothly. There were clearly many experts blocking the mountain stream exit, so how could the people of the heavenly bandits get out so easily? The 2 bandit groups were very surprised, but they also rushed out, ready to give chase. But as soon as they got close to the exit, they were hit by countless streams of light. Before they could understand what was going on, they had already lost nearly 100 bandits. "Gao Peng, come out for me. What the hell is going on?" In the mountain stream, a bandit leader shouted angrily. Gao Peng was the bandit leader with late Demon King cultivation outside the mountain stream. When he heard this, he directly ignored it and continued to command his subordinates to cooperate with the cultivators of the heavenly bandits to attack the bandits inside the mountain stream. The first master is really amazing. He actually invited so many experts to help. A mid-demon king leader of the heavenly bandits praised. There were some things he still didn't understand. The other party seems to have invited a true demon expert, Sang Ju said calmly. He already knew that Xiaoling Yu would come, so even if the situation just now was critical, he wasn't worried. Chapter 250. The 2 bandit groups were completely blocked in the mountain stream. The other party was unprepared for this, so they were naturally in a mess. Zhu Jin didn't give the other party too much time to react. He commanded the heavenly bandits and Gao Peng's bandit group to keep pressing into the mountain stream. Both sides were composed of 2 bandit groups. Their strength was actually equal, but the other party was terrified because of the chaos of the plan, and their combat strength had dropped too much. The heavenly bandits and Gao Peng's bandit group had the initiative. They understood everything, and the more they fought, the braver they became. In this way, the other party could not organize an effective counterattack, nor could they stabilize their footing. Sooner or later, they would be defeated. Under such circumstances, the 2 Meng family's true demon experts they invited naturally could no longer sit by and watch, and they showed up one after another. Without waiting for the 2 Meng family's true demon cultivators to show their power, Xiaoling Yu and Sang Ju greeted them, and also released true demon-level aura fluctuations. What surprised Xiaoling Yu and Sang Ju was that after the 2 true demon cultivators of the Meng family saw the 2 of them, they didn't even fight and wanted to escape. After all, the 2 people of the Meng family were invited, and they only had a relationship of interest with the 2 bandit groups. For some benefits, they would not fight desperately in this situation where they were not completely confident. If the 2 of them didn't have the identity of the Meng family, Xiaoling Yu might be able to let them go. That way, he could also quickly end the battle with Sang Ju and reduce the losses of the heavenly bandits. With a flap of the silver wings on his back, Xiaoling Yu's body rushed out and blocked in front of a Meng family cultivator, while Sang Ju blocked the other person. The Meng family cultivator blocked by Shaolin Yu had the cultivation base of the true demon intermediate stage, while the Meng family cultivator facing Sangju was only at the early stage of the true demon. The two of us are from the Meng family of Menjing City. Today, we just came to take a look and have no intention of being enemies with the two of you. I hope the two of you can let us go. Just treat it as giving face to our Meng family. The Meng family cultivator stopped by Shaolin Yu cupped his fists and said, "No matter which family you are from, since you are already here, then there is no need to leave." Shaolin Yu sneered and immediately attacked. In a flash, she charged towards her opponent. Sangju also immediately launched an attack on his opponent. The four true demon experts fought fiercely in the air above a mountain stream in Chudang Mountain. Shaolin Yu did not make any big moves. Although she made the first move, she remained on the defensive and allowed her opponent to attack her continuously. Unfortunately, even though Shaolin Yu had let the other party know that they could not escape, the other party had no intention of giving up. Instead, they attacked even more ferociously. The reason why Shaolin Yu hadn't used much strength was because he wanted to familiarize himself with his opponent's divine ability before thinking of a way to capture him alive. After watching for a while, Shaolin Yu also had a plan. Although this Meng family cultivator was in the middle stage of the true demon realm, he should have just broken through not long ago. It was difficult for him to fully display the strength of the middle stage of the true demon realm. Moreover, the other party did not have any powerful divine abilities or spells. It was estimated that his status in the Meng family was not very high. Last time, Shaolin Yu learned that the Meng family of Menjing City had been passed down for countless years. They had many clansmen and many experts. They could be said to be the overlord of the cultivation world near Menjing City. Even in the entire Blood Moon continent, they were a second-rate existence. Third-rate sects like the Eastern Demon sect could not be compared to them at all. Thus, the Meng family naturally did not lack true demon disciples and would not care too much about a true demon disciple. The Meng family had been operating in Menjing City for many years and also had special privileges. They must be very rich economically. The elite disciples of the Meng family did not need to come out to earn demon stones. These two people came out because their status in the Meng family was not high. After some calculations, Shaolin Yu felt that it was still difficult to capture this Meng family cultivator in the middle stage of the true demon realm, but he had to try. He began to accelerate his counterattack. He did not need to rely on magic weapons. His body was comparable to any high-grade demon treasure. With just a few punches and kicks, the Meng family cultivator was already defeated. When Shaolin Yu blasted the other party away, without waiting for the other party to react, 6 demon-suppressing immortal pearls flew out together, wanting to seal the other party. But before the 6 demon-suppressing immortal pearls formed an encirclement, the Meng family cultivator who had already realized the danger turned into a black dragon. With a dragon tail, he swept away one of the demon-suppressing immortal pearls and then escaped far away. The next moment, Shaolin Yu flashed again to block the other party's way. Knowing that he could not escape, the black dragon transformed by the Meng family cultivator exploded without any warning. Boom! An earth-shaking explosion surged in all directions of the mountain stream. The cliffs on both sides of the mountain stream suddenly cracked like glass. The self-destruction of a middle-stage true demon expert was very powerful. Fortunately, the center of the self-destruction was a little far from the battlefield below. The loss of the 4 bandit groups was not great, but almost all the bandits were scared out of their wits and did not dare to move again. Shaolin Yu quickly recovered, and then with a thought, the 6 demon-suppressing immortal pearls surrounded the Meng family cultivator in the early stage of the true demon realm. This time, the demon-suppressing immortal pearls easily surrounded the target, and then cast a sacred light curtain to seal the other party. "You go and end the battle below," Shaolin Yu told Sangju. In fact, Shaolin Yu did not intend to kill the 2 Meng family cultivators. He just wanted to capture them alive, torture them, and then erase their memories. This way, he could get useful information while avoiding offending the Meng family. Unexpectedly, for some unknown reason, the Meng family cultivator chose to self-destruct, which made Xiaoling Yu somewhat depressed. With Zhang Ju's participation in the battle below, the outcome was quickly decided. When the two bandit groups saw that one of the two true demon experts they had invited was dead and the other was captured alive, they naturally didn't dare to resist. Zhang Ju had just killed a mid-stage Devil King bandit leader when all the other bandits were captured without putting up a fight. Then, Xiaoling Yu sealed the cultivation of the Meng family cultivator in the early stage of the true demon realm. Then, together with the heavenly bandits, he escorted the captured bandits out of the mountain stream, and then stopped in a valley of Chudang Mountain. Although he was anxious to go back and deliver the devil stones to Jiang Kuei, it would be too late if he went back now. Xiaoling Yu did not mind wasting a little more time to settle things here. Those captured bandits, Xiaoling Yu naturally would not be cruel and reluctant to kill them. With a few words, they had no choice but to swear allegiance and become members of the heavenly bandits. After this battle, the strength of the heavenly bandits once again increased. There were 30 Demon King stage cultivators, and 2 of them were at the late stage of the Demon King stage, and the overall number had doubled. However, if the heaven-smiting bandit group wanted to achieve even greater breakthroughs, they would need to recruit even more true devil experts. However, true devil experts were very hard to find, and even if they did, they might not be willing to become bandits. As for recruiting spirit demon experts, Xiaoling Yu would not consider it at all. Even if someone was willing to come, they would certainly not be loyal to Xiaoling Yu. At that time, the heavenly bandits might have to change their surname. The matter of reorganizing the heavenly bandits naturally had to be put aside for the time being, and let Zhu Jin do it later. After letting those captured bandits swear an oath, Xiaoling Yu and Zhu Jin dug a simple cave house, and then set up a heavy restriction, and began to torture the Meng family member at the early stage of the true demon realm. Xiaoling Yu did not have any questions. The one who had questions was Zhu Jin, and he was only responsible for standing guard. Helplessly, the Meng family member was also very stubborn. For many of Zhu Jin's questions, he did not answer at all, and he looked like he wanted to die. At this time, the Meng family member should have recognized Zhu Jin at this time, and recognized that Zhu Jin was the person their family wanted, so he did not say anything. Xiaoling Yu didn't have time to waste here. After asking a few more times, the other party did not speak, so he directly searched the other party's soul. Fortunately, the other party was only at the early stage of the true demon realm, which was similar to Xiaoling Yu in terms of realm, but the other party's cultivation was now imprisoned, and Xiaoling Yu had cast a spell on him several times. Naturally, he could not resist Xiaoling Yu's soul search. After the soul search, Xiaoling Yu felt a little disgusted, because this guy was really not a good thing. This guy once peeped on his sister taking a bath, and he also raped his sister, but he did not have the courage to touch other women. Even if it was a maid of the Meng family, he did not dare to touch. This guy bullied the weak and was afraid of the strong. He bullied whoever was pitiful and weak, but he was very respectful to some of the stronger slaves. Because this guy's father scolded him, he actually attacked his father and killed him. The Meng family member who self-destructed before was also not a good thing. Although he was not as bad as the captured one, he was almost the same kind of trash. After seeing this, Xiaoling Yu really felt that these two guys deserved to die, and at the same time, his impression of the Meng family fell to the lowest point. The big families of the demon realm were the same as some big families in the secular world. They had all kinds of people. Through the soul search, Xiaoling Yu also had a deep understanding of the Meng family. Although he disdained the behavior of the Meng family, he was also shocked by the power and strength of the Meng family. As for the matter about Zhu Jin, this guy knew very little. It could be said that he didn't know anything. He only knew that Zhu Jin was the target of the Meng family, and he guessed that Zhu Jin should be the remnant of the Zhu family that was destroyed by the Meng family. Moreover, he had all the treasures of the Zhu family and the most precious thing of the Zhu family. After Xiaoling Yu explained the situation, Zhu Jin didn't explain anything. Xiaoling Yu naturally didn't ask much. He directly erased the soul of the Meng family member, and then burned his body with the primal chaos true fire. After taking 100,000 medium-grade magic stones from Zhu Jin, Shaolin Yu left the Chudang Mountain and went all the way to the East Pole Devil Sect at full speed. Shaolin Yu left and came back half a month later. There were only 5 days left before the battle between Jiang Kuei and Fan Yu. The Imperial Beast Hall was still very quiet, but Wang Tai and Hao Ren were very busy. Because Shaolin Yu left, the cub still needed someone to take care of it. No one expected that Shaolin Yu, who said that he would return in 3 to 5 days, would actually go out for half a month. Chapter 251. To Shaolin Yu's surprise, on the second day after he returned to the Imperial Beast Hall, Jiang Kuei did not come to find him again. According to Hao Ren and Wang Tai, Jiang Kuei had come to the Imperial Beast Hall almost every day in the past few days. He did not come today, probably because he was desperate. At this time, Jiang Kuei must have regretted listening to Shaolin Yu's words and agreeing to the bet. Now, no one knew where he went to borrow magic stones. Shaolin Yu walked around the sect but did not find Jiang Kuei. Later, he found out that Jiang Kuei had left the sect station yesterday. As for where he went, no one knew. Shaolin Yu had to return to the Imperial Beast Hall and then gave Hao Ren and Wang Tai a middle-rank magic tool each. Although the two of them did not have a close relationship with Shaolin Yu did not want them to lose, especially in the match between Hao Ren and Miao Yan. So, he took 2 middle-rank magic tools from the storage weapons of the 2 Meng family experts. For an early-stage Earth Demon cultivator, it was already very good to have a middle-grade magic tool. Even Miao Yan's best magic tool was only a low-grade magic tool, and Fan Yu only had a middle-grade magic tool. As for a high-rank magic tool, a true demon stage cultivator generally had a good luck to have one. However, there were only 3 to 5 days before the match. In such a short time, it was questionable whether the two of them could complete the initial sacrificial refining of the 2 middle-rank magic tools. Even if they took them to the arena, they might not be able to play much of a role. A middle-rank magic tool was not a high-rank magic tool. As long as it recognized a master, even if it could only exert 10% of its power, it was still much more powerful than a low-rank magic tool. 3 to 5 days passed in a blink of an eye, and another round of the match was about to begin. What made Shaolin Yu frown was that Jiang Kuei had not returned at this time. However, the match between Miao Yan and Hao Ren was about to begin, so Shaolin Yu did not think too much. Miao Yan was a mid-earth demon, and had ascended more than 5,000 years ago, while Hao Ren was an early earth demon who had ascended less than 100 years ago. Under normal circumstances, Miao Yan should have won. It was just that Hao Ren's performance in the previous battle was very eye-catching. There was a precedent of him defeating a Middle-earth demon. Therefore, many of the Eastern Demon Sect's disciples were not sure what the result of this battle would be. However, before entering the arena, Hao Ren had already completed the initial refinement of a middle-grade magic weapon. Coupled with his trump card, Shaolin Yu felt that Hao Ren should be able to win, provided that Miao Yan did not have any tricks up his sleeves or a middle-grade magic weapon that he had refined for many years. Miao Yan was the first to make his move. He spread open his arms and 10 snake-like black light ribbons shot towards Hao Ren. Hao Ren did not show any signs of weakness. His 10 fingers quickly formed a seal, and a black shield appeared in front of him. The 10 black light ribbons were quite powerful. It only took a moment for them to smash the black shield into pieces. Although their power had weakened a lot, they still bound Hao Ren's whole body. Miao Yan should have known that there would be such an effect. As soon as the shield was smashed, he took advantage of the situation and slashed his palm towards Hao Ren's head. Hao Ren's aura surged, and spikes of magic power flew around his body. In a few moments, the rope-like light ribbons were all smashed into pieces. Hao Ren regained his freedom. Before he could cast any other spells, he saw a large palm composed entirely of pure magic power slamming towards his chest. Hao Ren shouted and pushed his fists forward at the same time. His power gushed out like a flood, forming a magic fist. After a loud boom, a shockwave of aura swept through the entire fighting arena. Under the impact of this force, Howren could not stand still and involuntarily took a few steps back before he could completely disperse the force. Miao Yan, on the other hand, did not move a single step. A round of probing attacks was completed in 2 breaths. Howren was obviously at a disadvantage. In this competition of spells and skills, Howren was not as good as Miao Yan. However, Xiaoling Yu's expression was still very calm. She was very satisfied with Howren's performance. If it were any other early Earth Demon cultivator on the stage, they would have been defeated directly by Miao Yan's 3 axes. Howren did not show the slightest sign of defeat. With a gloomy expression, he just assumed a defensive posture and did not have the slightest intention of taking the initiative to attack. Miao Yan knew that Howren was not easy to deal with. He also knew that Howren had a big move, and if that big move was suddenly launched, even he may not be able to block it. So after testing, he did not continue to circle around to look for an opportunity. Instead, he opened his mouth and spat out a black light. The black light was very spiritual. After blurting out, it hovered above Miao Yan's head and finally manifested into a ruler-shaped magic weapon. When Miao Yan sensed that the ink-black ruler only had the aura of a low-grade magic tool, he was slightly relieved. However, he did not summon any magic treasure. He only took out a magic talisman and stuck it on his body. The magic talisman was not a low-grade item. At this time, the runes on it were constantly flowing, and the momentum on Howren's body began to rise again. It was not that Howren did not want to use magic weapons, but he did not have any good magic weapons at all. He ascended from the cultivation world with a cultivation base of the late Dashang stage. Although there was no shortage of magic weapons in the cultivation world, most of them were in the hands of those powerful loose demons. Very few of them fell into the hands of the Dashang stage cultivators. Now the situation had not reached a critical moment, and Howren did not want to take out the middle-grade magic weapon that Xiaoling Yu gave him too early. After all, the middle-grade magic weapon was a good thing, and it was best not to use it. After all, Howren still had a trump card that he had not used. However, Xiaoling Yu frowned when he saw this. He had seen that Miao Yan had already planned to use all his strength to determine the winner with one move. Taking out the low-grade magic ruler was just the beginning. Once Miao Yan began to attack, the result of this battle would be 80%. However, Howren did not pay attention to it, thinking that the other party simply wanted to compete with him with magic weapons. After the black ruler hovered above his head for a moment, Miao Yan pointed forward with one arm, and it whistled out, rushing towards Howren while constantly shaking its body. Every time it trembled, a similar ruler would appear around the black ruler. After a moment, there were a total of 8 rulers in front of Howren, and they suddenly flew out, attacking from all directions at the same time. While the 8 rulers besieged Howren at the same time, Miao Yan did not stop. He opened his mouth and spat out a black light, and a sledgehammer-shaped magic weapon emerged. Middle-grade magic weapon. The spectating cultivators exclaimed at the same time, because everyone could see that the sledgehammer was actually a middle-grade magic weapon. How does he have a middle-grade magic weapon? Xiaoling Yu's heart sank. Howren's cultivation base was inferior to Miao Yan's. If Miao Yan only had a low-grade magic artifact, Howren would have a higher chance of winning. However, Miao Yan had an additional mid-grade magic artifact. If Howren relied on his own strength, he would have no chance of winning. Although Howren also had a middle-grade magic weapon, he had not completely refined it, and could only use 10 to 20% of its power. When he saw that Miao Yan was constantly pouring his power into the sledgehammer, but the sledgehammer was constantly trembling, Xiaoling Yu was slightly relieved. It turned out that Miao Yan had not obtained the sledgehammer for long, and also had not completely refined it. Even using the sledgehammer to fight seemed a little difficult. Xiaoling Yu glanced around again and saw Fang Yu, who was sitting not far away and watching the battle with a sinister smile on his face. He could guess that the middle-grade magic weapon was loaned to Miao Yan by this guy. Xiaoling Yu's gaze shifted back to the battle arena, and he was suddenly very puzzled. The middle-grade magic weapon was very useful to Fang Yu, and he was about to face a battle that he could not lose. Why would he lend his magic weapon at such a crucial time? Even if Miao Yan immediately returned the magic weapon after the battle, how could Fang Yu refine the middle-grade magic weapon in such a short time? Unless he has a stronger magic weapon or fighting technique, or he is certain that Jiang Kuei will not fight with him on the stage, Shaolin Yu thought with narrowed eyes. While Shaolin Yu was pondering this, the black ruler, which had turned into 8, was already flying towards Miao Yan. Howard knew that his opponent had a low-grade magic weapon, and naturally, he was prepared. The wraith sign on his body suddenly exploded, and a torrent of demonic flames spewed out from his body, stopping the 8 black rulers less than 3 feet away from his body. Another light shout came from the billowing demonic flames, and in a flash, Howard escaped the encirclement of the 8 black rulers, and the demonic flames on his body all disappeared. Howard did not have the slightest change, and there was another wraith sign on his chest. The sledgehammer was still hovering above Miao Yan's head, and it was still trembling, as if it could not be activated. Miao Yan was still trying. Although his power was greatly depleted, and although beads of sweat had already appeared on his forehead, he was still trying to make the middle-grade magic weapon work. The sledgehammer was so difficult to activate, not because there was a problem with it, but because its quality was too high. After all, it was only a middle-grade magic weapon. No matter how high the quality was, and even if Miao Yan's cultivation was only at the middle stage of the Earth Demon realm, as long as Miao Yan could use it, he would not have to work so hard. It was most likely that there was a problem with the sledgehammer itself, so it resisted Miao Yan's control. Could it be that Fang Yu did not remove the master's relationship with the sledgehammer, and only used some secret method to let Miao Yan use it? Shaolin Yu suddenly thought of a possibility, and the corners of her mouth could not help but reveal a playful smile. Fang Yu was not a generous person, so how could he give Miao Yan a middle-grade magic weapon just because of a competition? Miao Yan was just a dog to Fang Yu, but Miao Yan himself may not be able to understand this. Howard was also a smart person, and he quickly judged Miao Yan's state, but he was more or less a little timid. Miao Yan's confidence before the competition made him a little uncertain. Otherwise, he would have immediately launched a counterattack after rushing out, not giving Miao Yan a chance to continue preparing. Chapter 252. After the sledgehammer was launched, Miao Yan's face turned pale and his body swayed a few times. He was obviously very weak. Miao Yan wanted to finish the battle in one fell swoop. He wanted to use the power of the mid-grade demonic weapon to defeat Miao Yan in one fell swoop. This was the decision Miao Yan and Fang Yu had come to after discussing it. In their opinion, this was absolutely foolproof. They knew that Hao Ren's trump card was an offensive method. If it didn't have strong defensive power, it would be impossible to block the attack of a mid-rank magic weapon. The demonic shadow that appeared behind Hao Ren was actually his trump card. When he was in the cultivation world, he relied on this trump card to ascend to the demonic realm. Therefore, he was very proficient in using this trump card. However, when the opponent's mid-grade demonic weapon smashed down, Hao Ren was a little flustered at first. Then, a determined look appeared on his face. Hao Ren did not use his trump card to block the sledgehammer. Instead, he threw it out. The demonic shadow flew out from behind Hao Ren like a flying yiksha and pounced in front of Miao Yan in an instant. "He's crazy!" The disciples of the demonic sect who were watching the battle all exclaimed. Anyone could see that if Hao Ren used the demonic shadow to block the sledgehammer, although he would be injured and defeated, it would not be a big deal and his life would not be in danger. If the demonic shadow went out to attack, although it could counterattack and there was a greater possibility that it could knock Miao Yan off the stage, it was more likely that he would die under the sledgehammer. Ordinary cultivators would definitely not choose to risk their lives to knock the opponent off the stage. Shaolin Yu was also a little surprised by Hao Ren's choice. However, he soon understood Hao Ren's intention. Hao Ren knew that he would definitely not die under the sledgehammer. Because in addition to the demonic shadow, he still had a trump card, which was the mid-grade demonic weapon that Shaolin Yu had given him. Just as the demonic shadow flew out and the sledgehammer was more than 2 feet away from his head, Hao Ren suddenly looked up and a black light flew out from his mouth. In an instant, it turned into a magic weapon that looked like a tortoise shell. When the sledgehammer hit the tortoiseshell, the demonic shadow pounced on Miao Yan, who was not in a good state. The demonic shadow's speed was extremely fast, and it was locked onto Miao Yan. The arena was only so big, and Miao Yan's cultivation was weak, so he naturally couldn't dodge it. With a loud bang, the demonic energy in the arena where Miao Yan and Haoren were located was wreaking havoc, making it impossible for everyone to see what was going on inside. Although the tortoise-shell-shaped defensive magic tool was given to Haoren by Shaolin Yu, he did not know much about the defensive power of the magic tool, so he could not instantly judge the situation in the arena. He could not help but worry for Haoren. After a few moments, the demon chi in the field was completely withdrawn, and the scene gradually became clear. To everyone's surprise, although Miao Yan had been knocked off the stage by the demonic shadow, Haoren was still lying on the ground. It was unknown whether he was dead or alive. As for the tortoiseshell-like defensive magic weapon and Miao Yan's sledgehammer, they lay quietly beside Haoren at this time. Their color was dim and their power was gone. That guy is dead? What he used just now seems to be a middle-grade magic weapon. I didn't expect that both of them, who are only in the Earth Demon realm, would have middle-grade magic weapons. I'm already in the mid-stage of the Heavenly Demon realm, and I'm still using a low-grade magic weapon. If Haoren is dead, this battle should be considered Miao Yan's victory. While everyone was discussing, Miao Yan struggled to stand up. He first looked nervously at the arena. When he saw Haoren lying motionless, he laughed loudly and shouted as if he had gone crazy, "Haha! Even if you have a middle-grade magic weapon, you're still no match for me." However, just as Miao Yan finished shouting, his smile froze on his face. In the arena, Haoren, who was lying on the ground, suddenly sat up with his hands on the ground, and then stood up shakily. After standing for 2 breaths, Haoren fell to the ground with a plop. Miao Yan hurriedly ran to the stage, wanting to see if Haoren was really dead this time. What made Miao Yan depressed was that Haoren was not dead, nor was he unconscious, and his eyes were still open. When Haoren saw Miao Yan, he grinned and said, "Don't open your eyes so wide, I'm not dead yet." The corner of Miao Yan's mouth twitched a few times, and he snorted and said, "You're not dead, but you're still pretending to be dead. You must be seriously injured, right?" When Haoren heard this, he immediately jumped up and patted the dust off his body, and said in a seemingly relaxed manner, "It's too tiring to stand, so I want to lie down for a while, don't misunderstand." Seeing this, Shaolin Yu on the stage let out a long sigh and glanced at Fang Yu, who was not far away. Fang Yu's face was ashen at this time, and his body was trembling with anger. He was very puzzled that Haoren, who had just ascended less than 100 years ago and had recently advanced to the early stage of Earth Demon, had a middle-grade magic weapon. What made Fang Yu even angrier was that Miao Yan, who also had a middle-grade magic weapon, was clearly 1 level higher in realm, but he could not defeat his opponent, and the opponent was still standing on the stage. After a cold snort, Fang Yu stood up from his seat and walked to the side angrily. Haoren put the tortoise-shell-like magic weapon into his body and said to Miao Yan, "In the next 500 years, I'll have to trouble Brother Miao to take care of those cubs, ha." When the referee announced that the winner was Haoren, Haoren walked down the stage slowly and slowly came to Shaolin Yu. Shaolin Yu was just about to congratulate him, but Haoren had already rolled his eyes and fell into Shaolin Yu's arms. This boy can really pretend. Shaolin Yu caught Haoren, then took out a medicinal pill and fed it to Haoren. He then poured his power into Haoren's body to help Haoren dissolve the medicinal effect. Haoren was seriously injured, and his muscles and bones were severely broken. Fortunately, his dantian was not too shaken, and although the demon infant was a little dispirited, it was not a big problem. What Shaolin Yu fed Haoren just now was a middle-grade magic pill, which was enough to heal him. Wang Tai's battle and Jiang Kuei's battle were carried out at the same time. However, Wang Tai had already entered the stage, while Jiang Kuei had yet to appear. Wang Tai's opponent was a late-stage Earth Demon cultivator who showed faint signs of breaking through to the Heavenly Demon stage. Shaolin Yu had said before that if the opponent was too strong, Wang Tai shouldn't go all out and expose the fact that he had a middle-grade magic tool. After all, both Wang Tai and Haoren were from the Imperial Beast Hall. If they used middle-grade magic tools in the battle, it would certainly arouse suspicion. Hao Ren's amazing performance just now had aroused the suspicion of many experts of the Eastern Demon Sect. Moreover, Hao Ren was seriously injured. The honest and loyal Wang Tai naturally knew what to do at this time. He just put on an act and made a few gestures, then cupped his hands and admitted defeat. The gap between the two sides was quite big, so Wang Tai took the initiative to admit defeat. In everyone's eyes, it was a wise move and no one doubted it. After Wang Tai left the stage, he took Hao Ren back to the Imperial Beast Hall. Xiaoling Yu, on the other hand, looked at Fang Yu's battle stage. According to the rules of the competition, a person who was late by 10 minutes would be regarded as admitting defeat. The referee was about to announce the result when Jiang Kuei appeared in front of the stage. He looked travel-worn and slightly distressed. "Senior brother Jiang, you've arrived so late. I thought you were prepared to give up and admit defeat." Fang Yu waited for Jiang Kuei to get on the stage, and said with a smile. "Humph. Don't worry. Jiang Kuei, haven't fallen to that point yet." Jiang Kuei patted the dust off his body, and replied with a cold snort. "Senior brother Jiang, have you prepared enough magic stones?" Fang Yu asked with a smile. The corners of Jiang Kuei's mouth twitched as he replied, "I have enough magic stones. But, I don't have enough magic stones for 100,000 pieces. I only have 60,000 pieces." "Haha, senior brother Jiang, our agreement is 100,000 middle-grade magic stones. Whoever can't come up with that amount will have to crawl under my crotch, and bark 3 times like a dog. Now that senior brother Jiang hasn't gathered enough magic stones, shouldn't you honor this agreement before the competition?" Fang Yu said with a big laugh. The gloominess from Miao Yan's loss had been swept away. At this moment, Jiang Kuei's originally stalwart body seemed to tremble a little. He was a man of his words, and he had never gone back on his word. It was absolutely impossible for such a man to not admit to his own words. "All right. A real man knows when to yield and when to stand tall. Jiang Kuei, will definitely do what I say." Jiang Kuei was silent for a moment, and after a sound of agreement, he pretended to crawl down. At this moment, the entire audience was staring at the battle between Jiang Kuei and Fang Yu, because the news of this battle had been spreading like wildfire in the sect. "Wait!" A shout came from below the stage. Everyone looked towards the direction of the voice, and saw a young cultivator slowly walking to the bottom of the stage. This young man was Xiaoling Yu. At this moment, his heart was filled with guilt. He had actually allowed a man of steel to crawl under someone else's crotch. Walking to the edge of the stage, Xiaoling Yu threw a storage pouch on the stage and said, "Now you have enough magic stones." After saying this, without giving the 2 people on the stage time to speak, Xiaoling Yu turned around and quickly returned to his seat in the audience. Jiang Kuei was a little surprised, and his thoughts became complicated. However, after thinking about it, he decided to put away the magic stones first. His demonic consciousness sank into the storage pouch and took a look. It was full of middle-grade magic stones, and there were at least 70,000 to 80,000 of them. Jiang Kuei's expression relaxed a lot. "Now I have enough magic stones." Jiang Kuei waved the 2 storage pouches in his hand and said to Miao Yan. Fang Yu glared at Xiaoling Yu with resentment and said in a low voice, "Then let's compete to see who's better." Seeing that the person he had been jealous of for many years was about to crawl under his crotch, but failed at the last moment, Fang Yu, who already hated Xiaoling Yu, naturally hated him even more. He couldn't wait to rush over and tear Xiaoling Yu into pieces and burn his bones to ashes. "That's exactly what I want." After Jiang Kuei responded, he retreated to the side and got into a fighting stance. Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei were both at the middle stage Omen stage, but Jiang Kuei joined the sect earlier, and Jiang Kuei was at the peak of the middle stage Omen stage. Fang Yu had just entered the middle stage Omen stage, so Jiang Kuei had the upper hand in terms of realm and cultivation. Chapter 253. With the referee's order, the battle officially began. Almost all the Heavenly Demon Realm disciples of the East Pole Demon sect knew that Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei were sworn enemies. Neither of them was willing to submit to the other. Even if they didn't fight openly or covertly, they would at least quarrel every time they met. After so many years, the hatred between Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei grew deeper and deeper. This sect competition was a good way to vent it. Usually, everyone quarreled, but because of the sect's rules, no one dared to act rashly. However, this competition gave them a reasonable opportunity to fight head-on. Although killing of fellow sect members was not allowed in the battle arena, if one really got into a fight and was unable to stop himself from killing the other party in a split second, the sect would not hold the other party accountable too deeply. Unless one purposely killed the other party when one already had the upper hand. However, the difference in strength between Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei was not big. It was difficult for one to kill the other, but one could not rule out the possibility of an accident. For example, in the battle between Miao Yan and Haoran just now, if Haoran had not used a middle-grade demonic weapon at the last moment, he would have lost his life in the arena. If it was in an immoral sect, there would have been an expert rushing to the arena just now to help Haoran block the attack of the sledgehammer and then announce Miao Yan's victory. They would not give Haoran a chance to take the risk. Demonic sects did not care much about the lives of their disciples, unless they were disciples with excellent aptitudes. Fang Yu did not intend to be polite. With a gloomy look, he waved his brocade sleeve and countless black filaments flew out from under his wrist and rolled toward Jiang Kuei. Jiang Kuei growled and a demonic saber suddenly appeared in his hand. He then swept it in front of him. Suddenly, a pure black saber light swept forward in a half-moon shape with incomparable power. The black filaments and the saber light collided in an instant, but they were bent by the saber light. "Open!" Fang Yu roared, and those thin threads suddenly became thicker. Like slender arrows, they pierced through the black blade light and split it apart, then continued to move forward. Jiang Kuei's expression did not change when his saber aura was dealt with. He shook the devil saber in his hand, and saber shadows flew out at an extremely fast speed. However, a moment later, the saber shadows turned into ghosts and danced in the sky. The dancing ghostly shadows circled in the air for a while before they all rushed towards the black arrows. Each ghostly shadow hugged an arrow and then suddenly exploded. The ghost shadow and the arrow perished together. Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei both stopped what they were doing and looked at each other with serious expressions. In this probing exchange, both sides were evenly matched. No one had the slightest advantage. Whether it was in terms of skill or the use of magic, the two were almost on par. They all knew that if they wanted to win in terms of skill or magic, not only would it take a long time, it would also be extremely unreliable. Other than strength and spells, they could only rely on their magic treasures and battle techniques. As for battle techniques, Jiang Kuei had been cultivating for a long time and had always had a fiery temper. Whether it was in the cultivation world or the devil realm, he had experienced far more battles than Fang Yu, who was good at scheming. The more battles he experienced, the stronger his battle techniques would naturally be. If it were not for his superb battle awareness, how could a cultivator with such a temper like Jiang Kuei's walk on the path of the devil path to this day? Fang Yu and Jiang Kuei were both very outstanding disciples of the Eastern Demon sect in the Heavenly Demon Realm. The sect had provided both of them with a middle-grade demonic artifact, but it was only a middle-grade demonic artifact. As for a high-grade demonic artifact, even many true demon experts of the Eastern Demon sect did not have one. However, the sect's configuration was one thing, but personal opportunities could not be underestimated. The East Pole Demon sect did not even give him a low-grade demonic tool, but he still took out a middle-grade demonic tool in the fight. Fang Yu gave his middle-grade demonic tool to Miao Yan for the fight. After Miao Yan lost the fight, Fang Yu did not immediately take back the sledgehammer. Moreover, Fang Yu looked full of confidence, which gave Shaolin Yu reason to believe that Fang Yu might really have a more powerful magic treasure on him. After the two looked at each other for a few breaths on the stage, Jiang Kuei still stood in place, letting the other party make the first move. Under normal circumstances, the one who made the first move would have the upper hand, at least in the offensive aspect, especially when the gap in strength between the two sides was not big. Fang Yu was not polite. Countless Western lines flew out from his wrist again, but they did not fly straight at Jiang Kuei. Instead, they quickly flew around Jiang Kuei. Then, Fang Yu opened his mouth and spat out a black light, and his hands began to form seals. The black light flew and rose, and in a flash, it turned into a demonic tool in the shape of a pipe. The pipe turned upside down and spat out black demonic flames at Jiang Kuei. The pipe magic treasure was a mid-grade demonic tool. Before it spewed out the demonic flames, the numerous thin threads had already surrounded Jiang Kuei from all directions. When they were still a few feet away from Jiang Kuei, they had already formed a black cocoon. Jiang Kuei knew that the black cocoon was powerful, but no matter how he moved in the beginning, he could not get rid of the black lines. After all, the fighting arena was only so big, and it was difficult for a heavenly demon stage cultivator to fully display their strength. After the black cocoon formed, Jiang Kuei did not have much fear. The middle-grade demonic blade in his hand slashed out a few sharp blade lights, cutting cracks on the black cocoon. Unfortunately, those cracks closed in an instant, not giving Jiang Kuei a chance to rush out. The demonic flames from the pipe, with the help of Fang Yu's spell, could penetrate the black cocoon and fill the space inside the black cocoon in the blink of an eye. Surrounded by the demonic flames and attacked by black arrows from time to time, Jiang Kuei seemed to be in a passive position. However, Jiang Kuei knew Fang Yu very well, and naturally knew Fang Yu's methods. If Fang Yu used these methods on an ordinary middle-stage heavenly demon stage cultivator, it would be easy to win, or even directly kill the opponent. However, for Jiang Kuei, this level of attack was nothing. Jiang Kuei's aura rose to its peak. Just by relying on his aura and the protective light barrier, he was able to prevent the devil flames from getting close to him. The devil blade that he was constantly waving could also easily block the attacks of the black arrows. However, in this way, his consumption of energy seemed to be too fast. Jiang Kuei naturally would not let the other party trap him like this and consume his strength. He stabilized the situation and ensured that he would not have any problems in a short time. Then, he took out a middle-grade demonic talisman and bombarded the black cocoon continuously. The black cocoon seemed tough, but it definitely could not withstand too many attacks from the middle-grade demonic stones. Jiang Kuei would inevitably rush out. If Fang Yu could defeat Jiang Kuei with these methods alone, then how could Jiang Kuei be presumptuous in front of him? In fact, Fang Yu did not have many methods left. If he could not defeat Jiang Kuei like this, he could only start to defend and let Jiang Kuei attack. Then, he would most likely lose. Since he dared to bet with Jiang Kuei and even lent a middle-grade demonic artifact to Jiang Kuei before the battle, Fang Yu was full of confidence. When the black cocoon was gradually unable to withstand and was on the verge of collapse, Fang Yu took out a demonic talisman that looked like a black brick. The demonic talisman had not been strengthened by Fang Yu's power yet, but its surface was already surging with mist, and there was a vague invisible fluctuation flowing around. Demonic curse. Shaolin Yu narrowed his eyes for a moment and was shocked. Not only did the demonic talisman contain a very strong energy, enough to seriously injure any heavenly demon stage cultivator, but it also sealed a demonic curse. Not only would its power increase, but it would also have some strange effects. Such a demonic talisman was definitely not made by Fang Yu. Shaolin Yu guessed that it was made by Fang Yu's master, the woman surnamed Lu. The East Pole Demon Sex Battle Assembly did not stipulate that cultivators could not use the treasures given by their masters during the battle. However, Jiang Kuei's master had recently gone into seclusion. If Jiang Kuei were to suffer a loss, he could only blame his bad luck. The black cocoon was finally blasted open. Jiang Kuei had just rushed out when he felt a mighty imposing aura descending from the sky. He subconsciously raised his demonic saber to block it. With a clang, Jiang Kuei's demonic saber and the smoking pipe fiercely collided. A huge force was transmitted from the smoking pipe to the demonic saber, and then from the demonic saber into Jiang Kuei's body. "Get out of my way!" Jiang Kuei shouted and attacked with all the strength in his body. The demonic saber in his hand trembled violently and bounced the smoking pipe away. Just as the smoking pipe flew into the sky, Fan Yu threw the demonic talisman in front of him at Jiang Kuei. Jiang Kuei had just used his strength to shake off a middle-rank demonic tool and had not yet stabilized his body. How could he dodge the attack of a demonic talisman? Not to mention, this demonic talisman's attack had been premeditated by the other party for a long time. Jiang Kuei also knew that if he rushed out, he would definitely be attacked by Fan Yu. As long as he blocked this round of attacks, Fan Yu would have no choice but to admit defeat. Therefore, he was not unprepared. Seeing that he could not dodge the demonic talisman, he simply did not try to dodge and directly brandished his demonic saber in front of him. The speed of the demonic talisman was very fast, and the area of the arena was not large. Therefore, it could not change its direction and fiercely collided with Jiang Kuei's demonic saber. Boom! A loud explosion was heard. Jiang Kuei first felt a sharp pain in the web between his thumb and forefinger, and then his body retreated. Jiang Kuei was also a person with rich fighting experience. While constantly retreating, he poured all of his power into his feet to quickly stand firm and not fall off the stage. However, just as Jiang Kuei steadied himself and was about to deal with Fan Yu, a strange wave of energy suddenly hit him in the face. Due to his lack of preparation, he thought that the power of the Wraith sign had already erupted. Caught off guard, the strange wave of energy had already entered his body. Xiaoling Yu knew that Jiang Kuei was defeated, and thoroughly defeated. Because from the beginning to the end, Fan Yu was the one attacking, and he did not launch a single counterattack that could threaten Fan Yu. It was not that Jiang Kuei did not have the ability, but Jiang Kuei was too careful and wanted to gain the upper hand after making the first move. Although the woman surnamed Lu's attainments in demonic spells were not very good, her demonic spells were definitely not something that a heavenly demon stage cultivator could withstand. Even Xiaoling Yu almost fell for it, let alone Jiang Kuei. However, the woman surnamed Lu's demonic spells were integrated into the demonic talisman. Her means were also extraordinary. Jiang Kuei's demonic spell was not very powerful. It could only make his body stiff for a few breaths, but these few breaths were enough. Chapter 254. Jiang Kuei was defeated. Even though he had gathered enough devil stones to enter the arena, Jiang Kuei was still defeated in a real battle. When his body landed on the hard stone floor below the arena, Jiang Kuei's heart sank to the bottom. He had never imagined that he would lose to Fan Yu in a head-on battle. He had always thought that a petty person like Fan Yu only had the ability to flatter and curry favor with others. Such a pretty boy couldn't possibly be that strong. Jiang Kuei not only looked down on Fan Yu on the surface, but he also looked down on Fan Yu in his heart. His carelessness caused him to suffer a great loss. If he had attacked fiercely from the beginning and used all his strength to gain the upper hand and suppress Fan Yu, the result might not have been like this. Xiaoling Yu was also surprised. He originally thought that Fan Yu would have a magic treasure more powerful than a mid-grade devil tool. He didn't expect Fan Yu to defeat Jiang Kuei with a devil talisman. Yes, it was that Wraith talisman that defeated Jiang Kuei. When Jiang Kuei stood up again, he was very puzzled. That was clearly a Wraith talisman that contained vigorous energy. How could it have the effect of a Wraith talisman? Jiang Kuei didn't know much about devil talismans, so he didn't know that devil talismans could be fused with other magic arts. Fan Yu wins this round. A mid-grade devil king from the East Pole Devil sect shouted loudly and stepped down from the arena. Fan Yu smiled proudly. He first cupped his hands to the surrounding audience and then said to Jiang Kuei, "Senior brother Jiang, thank you for letting me win." Jiang Kuei's face was ashen and his body trembled. However, he was defeated. After all, his opponent relied on a fair and square battle to defeat him in front of the eyes of countless fellow disciples. He had nothing to complain about. He said straightforwardly, "I lost. Here are 100,000 mid-grade devil stones. Take them." After saying this, Jiang Kuei threw a storage pouch onto the arena. Fan Yu stretched out his forearm and sucked the storage pouch into his palm. He scanned it with his mind and put it away with a smile. Then, Fan Yu said, "Apart from the fiend stones, I remember that senior brother Jiang added another bet. I wonder if senior brother Jiang still remembers. Of course, Jiang Kuei remembered the bet that he had added. Although he regretted it very much, there was nothing he could do. After all, there were many people present at that time, and he couldn't deny it. Of course, with Jiang Kuei's character, he wouldn't deny it. After Jiang Kuei's expression changed again and again, he leaped onto the stage and said, I admit defeat. I, Jiang Kuei, am not a man who goes back on his words. After saying that, Jiang Kuei crawled to the ground with a plop and crawled towards Fang Yu, who was only 10 feet away from him. Fang Yu's face was still filled with pride, but he also spread his legs, waiting for Jiang Kuei to crawl under his crotch, waiting to enjoy the humiliation of the person he hated the most. To Fang Yu, this was the happiest thing in life. For some reason, even though Shaolin Yu had already become indifferent to external affairs, when he saw Fang Yu's smug look, an extremely strong desire arose in his heart. That desire was to rush onto the stage and ruthlessly beat Fang Yu up until his nose was bruised and his face was swollen, crying for his father and mother. However, Shaolin Yu didn't do that. This arena wasn't the Valley of the Imperial Beast Hall. There were many experts of the Eastern Devil sect here. If he dared to make a move, he would inevitably attract the attention of others. He didn't want to provoke endless troubles in the future just because of a momentary pleasure. However, Shaolin Yu suddenly felt a pair of eyes staring at him. He couldn't help but turn his head to look. He found that the woman surnamed Lu was looking at him with a sneer on her face. When their eyes met, the woman surnamed Lu quickly moved her gaze away. Why is she looking at me? Could it be that she thinks I'll make a move at this time? Shaolin Yu was suspicious at first, but then he sneered and thought, she thinks too simply of me. She thinks that if she helps Fang Yu defeat Jiang Kuei and humiliates Jiang Kuei, I won't be able to stop myself from making a move. Then, the experts of the Eastern Devil sect will surround and kill me. She doesn't dare to reveal my secrets, so she actually used other means. I seem to have underestimated her. Enough. Seeing that Jiang Kuei had crawled to less than 3 feet away from Fang Yu, a deep and dignified voice resounded in the arena. It was incomparably clear and entered the ears of all the cultivators present. Looking in the direction of the voice, a tall and sturdy old man with long black and white hair, wearing a loose black cloth robe was already floating in the air. Greetings, Sect Master. All the cultivators of the Heavenly Devil, Devil King, and True Devil realms stood up and bowed to the old man with a respectful expression. The person who came was actually the Sect Master of the Eastern Devil sect. No wonder he dared to directly float in the air in the middle of the arena. No wonder he dared to speak so loudly. No wonder he could calmly accept the worship of the Eastern Devil sect cultivators in the arena. Then, the Earth Devil realm disciples who had never seen this person before all hurriedly stood up and bowed. Shaolin Yu also didn't want to be an exception. He stood up with everyone, but he didn't keep his head down all the time. Instead, he occasionally glanced up. The sect master of the Eastern Devil sect looked like an old man in his 50s in the secular world. However, he didn't look old at all. Not only was his body standing straight like a javelin, there weren't any wrinkles on his face. However, the vicissitudes of life he had experienced over the years were very obvious. Since we're from the same sect, we should be like brothers. How can you humiliate us like this? The sect master said with a dignified face. Sect master ancestor, the two of us made a bet first. Fang Yu hesitated for a moment, but still braced himself and explained. Impudent. The sect master first shouted sternly and then said, you shouldn't have made this bet in the first place. If fellow disciples were to scheme against each other and hate each other like the two of you, then how could my East Pole Devil sect develop and grow in the future? There's no need for external enemies to come and kill us. We'll destroy ourselves. Although Jiang Kuei was a man of his word, at this time, the sect master came out to stop him. Naturally, he wouldn't stubbornly seek humiliation. He humbly stood to the side and didn't say anything. But, what? Do you still want to explain? Just as Fang Yu was about to speak, the sect master narrowed his eyes and interrupted, whose disciple is this? Sect master ancestor, he's this disciple's disciple. The woman surnamed Lu stood up and respectfully replied. After seeing the woman surnamed Lu, the sect master of the Eastern Devil sect said meaningfully, no wonder his cultivation is superficial and his chi essence is impure. Since he's your disciple, take him back and properly discipline him. Disciple obeys. After saying that, the woman surnamed Lu entered the arena and flew out with Fan Yu. This woman surnamed Lu seems to have an extremely powerful background. Otherwise, the devil sect master wouldn't have let Fan Yu off so easily. After all, Fan Yu was suspected of contradicting him. Xiaoling Yu secretly speculated. Whose disciple is this? The sect master pointed at Jiang Kuei and asked. After a long time of silence, Jiang Kuei respectfully replied, Sect master ancestor, this disciple's master is currently in seclusion. In the future, remember, don't show off in everything. If you don't have complete confidence, don't make a bet. Fellow disciples must also get along well. After saying this, the sect leader flew to a corner of the arena and sat down on a seat. What made Xiaoling Yu slightly surprised was that the steward of the Hall of Records was also sitting next to the sect master. Moreover, when the sect master landed, that old man surnamed Li didn't respectfully stand up to greet him. Instead, his face was calm. This old man really isn't simple. Xiaoling Yu withdrew her gaze and walked out of the arena. She had no intention of staying to watch the fight. Just as Xiaoling Yu arrived at the entrance of the arena, Jiang Kuei caught up with her. Sorry, I came back late. Xiaoling Yu spoke first, but her footsteps didn't stop. It's the same whether you come back sooner or later. Jiang Kuei gloomily replied. Originally, he wanted to complain to Xiaoling Yu after winning the fight, but now that he lost, he wasn't in the mood to talk nonsense. Xiaoling Yu came back sooner or later, so it didn't matter much. After all, as long as Jiang Kuei wasn't prepared for Fan Yu's devil talisman, he would lose the fight. Fortunately, the sect master appeared in time. It doesn't matter if I lose some devil stones. Xiaoling Yu intermittently said. It's still the same. Although I didn't crawl under Fan Yu's crotch, in the imagination of many fellow disciples, I did it once. Jiang Kuei bitterly smiled. In that situation, many disciples of the Eastern Demon sect couldn't help but imagine Jiang Kuei crawling under Fan Yu's crotch. Xiaoling Yu didn't know how to comfort Jiang Kuei, or perhaps she wasn't sure if Jiang Kuei needed to be comforted, so she just kept walking and didn't say anything. After the two walked together for a long time, Jiang Kuei said, I'll return your devil stones as soon as possible. Xiaoling Yu shook her head and said, don't be in a hurry to return the devil stones. It's more important to summarize the experience of failure. Jiang Kuei was silent for a while, then said, did you really just ascend? Xiaoling Yu's various actions were really suspicious. Not to mention anything else, just the fact that he could take out so many devil stones at once showed that he wasn't simple. Moreover, Xiaoling Yu had always been calm and collected, which made Jiang Kuei feel that there was something wrong. I can understand why others would be suspicious, but why would you be suspicious? Xiaoling Yu asked with a smile. That's true. I saw you walk out of there with my own eyes. You've just ascended, so there's no way you can fake it, but we've arrived at the Imperial Beast Hall. I'll go in and do something first. If you have enough devil stones, just come here and return them to me. If you don't have enough, you owe me a favor. Xiaoling Yu didn't wait for Jiang Kuei to finish his words, and immediately walked into the Imperial Beast Hall. He believed that with Jiang Kuei's temperament, he wouldn't go out and gossip. Jiang Kuei resentfully stood at the entrance of the Imperial Beast Hall, and then left on his own. Xiaoling Yu didn't go to watch the Eastern Demon sect's battles after that. Although Haoren won, he also gave up the following battles because of his injury. Although the head of the Imperial Beast Hall said that he didn't support gambling battles between fellow disciples, the old steward of the Imperial Beast Hall still ordered Miao Yan to honor the bet, and let Miao Yan be responsible for taking care of the cubs of the entire Imperial Beast Hall for the next 500 years. Although Miao Yan was dissatisfied, he couldn't go to the head of the Imperial Beast Hall to reason with him. he also didn't know where to go. If he went to other people, they wouldn't care about the Imperial Beast Hall. Chapter 255. After more than 4 months, the great competition held by the East Pole Demon sect to select the best disciples finally came to an end. Hao Ren and Wang Tai failed to enter the top 10 of the Earth Demon realm. Although they performed well in the competition, they didn't receive any rewards. However, many Demon King stage cultivators were willing to accept them as disciples. Because there were so many Demon King stage cultivators willing to accept them as disciples, the old steward of the Imperial Beast Hall had a reason to refuse. In any case, the hunchback wasn't afraid of offending Demon King stage cultivators. Hao Ren and Wang Tai didn't want to become disciples of Demon King stage cultivators because they could get excellent results in the next great competition and directly become disciples of true demon stage experts. As for the Heavenly Demon Realm competition, Fang Yu actually entered the top 3. Although he was only 3rd place, he was still qualified to enter the East Pole Demon Cave. Many Heavenly Demon Realm elite disciples separated from their original masters and were taken away by the sect's true demon stage experts. Only Fang Yu was left untouched. Among the several true demon stage experts of the East Pole Demon sect, no one knew whether it was because they didn't fancy Fang Yu's aptitude or because they didn't dare to compete with Madame Lu for a disciple. In any case, Fang Yu, who entered the top 3, was still Madame Lu's disciple, which made him a little depressed. Although Madame Lu took good care of Fang Yu didn't want to live a life of constant consumption of yang essence. He didn't know how long he could persist. In Fang Yu's heart, he had long hoped to break off the master-disciple relationship with Madame Lu. Originally, this was an opportunity, but in the end, he found that this opportunity belonged to someone else and had nothing to do with him. However, Fang Yu could also guess that his master was certainly not simple. He was afraid that she had a deep background in the sect, so he felt a little better. More than a month after the great competition, the hunchback old man suddenly looked for Shaolin Yu with a puzzled face and said, "Just now, a message came from the sect, saying that you should go to the East Pole Demon Palace." The East Extreme Devil Palace was the place where the sect master of the East Extreme Devil sect would discuss matters with the experts of the sect. If the East Extreme Devil sect was compared to a kingdom, then the East Extreme Devil Palace would be the throne room of the royal palace. Shaolin Yu had been in the East Pole Devil sect for a period of time. Naturally, he knew what kind of place the East Pole Devil Palace was. He asked in astonishment, "What do you want me to do?" The hunchbacked old man shook his head and said, "I don't know either, but it should be related to this large competition." Shaolin Yu frowned and said, "I didn't participate in the competition. What does the competition have to do with me?" The hunchbacked old man shrugged and said, "You can only find out after making a trip to the East Extreme Devil Palace." Shaolin Yu thought for a moment and asked, "Can I find an excuse not to go?" The hunchbacked old man replied without hesitation, "Of course not. This is the sect master's summons. Even if one is in closed-door cultivation or is unable to move due to heavy injuries, as long as one is not dead, one must go. Otherwise, it would be disobeying the sect master's orders. The punishment would be great. Go quickly. Don't worry. You didn't do anything wrong. The sect won't trouble you. I think there will be good things for you if you go," the hunchbacked old man urged. Shaolin Yu didn't dawdle. He immediately went out of the Imperial Beast Hall's valley and quickly walked towards the East Pole Devil Palace. The East Pole Devil Palace was also located in the center of the East Pole Devil sect's encampment. It was not far from the arena. Moreover, it was one of the largest and most magnificent buildings in the entire East Pole Devil sect. Shaolin Yu could easily find it. Along the way, Shaolin Yu naturally had a lot of thoughts, but in the end, he let go. Even if the spirit demon stage expert attacked him for no reason, even if he was not a match for him, he could still escape. At most, he would suffer a little injury. There was a small lake in the center of the East Pole Devil sect. In the center of the lake, there was a small island. The East Pole Devil Palace stood on that island. For the ordinary disciples of the East Pole Devil sect, the vicinity of this small lake was a forbidden area. If they were not summoned, they would not dare to come here. There were many restrictions around the small lake. There were also some hidden array formations. If one accidentally touched those restrictions or array formations, the end would be very miserable. Before Xiaoling Yu could get close to the small lake, he was stopped by a Devil King late-stage cultivator. After the late-stage Devil King realm cultivator asked for the reason, he personally led Xiaoling Yu to the side of the small lake through a safe route. Then, the late-stage Devil King realm cultivator started to form hand seals and recite an incantation. A small bridge slowly emerged from the lake. Through the small bridge, Xiaoling Yu came to the small island in the center of the lake. Then, he met another Devil King late-stage cultivator. Under the guidance of that Devil King late-stage cultivator, he arrived at the entrance of the East Pole Devil Palace. The gate of the Devil Palace was open. There were 2 Devil King late-stage cultivators guarding the gate. They looked straight ahead. Even if Xiaoling Yu came in front of them, they didn't look at him. Xiaoling Yu of the Imperial Beast Hall, come in. As soon as Xiaoling Yu arrived at the gate of the East Pole Devil Palace, he heard a loud voice coming from the main hall. The 2 Devil King late-stage cultivators at the gate still didn't move. Xiaoling Yu's expression turned slightly serious. He calmed his mind and secretly restrained his aura before slowly walking into the main hall. The main hall was very spacious. There was a wide red carpet in the middle, and both sides were filled with Devil Sect cultivators. Xiaoling Yu's state of mind was relatively calm. Therefore, he lowered his head and walked forward. He dared to look around a few times. He found that among the cultivators standing here, there were a few familiar faces. For example, Fang Yu, the woman surnamed Lu, and the old man surnamed Li. The sect master of the East Pole Devil Sect was sitting at the end of the carpet. Like the other disciples of the East Pole Devil Sect, he stared at Xiaoling Yu, who had just entered. After walking for about 10 steps, Xiaoling Yu stood still. He cupped his fists and bowed. Junior Xiaoling Yu greets the sect master. You are indeed an extraordinary person. The Devil Sect master first praised him, and then said, such an outstanding person is indeed qualified to enter the East Pole Devil Cave. Hearing this, Xiaoling Yu was even more puzzled. Listening to the Devil Sect master's words, it seemed that he also had the opportunity to enter the East Pole Devil Cave. But didn't they say that only the top 3 of the battle assembly had the qualifications? He had been stared at by the Devil Sect master for a while. With the Devil Sect master's late-stage true demon cultivation base, he could naturally roughly see his cultivation base. Xiaoling Yu never doubted this point. All right. Now that everyone is here, I've said everything that needs to be said. For those disciples who wish to enter the Eastern Extreme Devil Cave, please choose a private room in the back and recuperate for a while. After 3 days, we will enter together. The Devil Sect master didn't say anything to Xiaoling Yu, nor did he ask anything. After saying this, he stood up and walked to the side hall. Farewell, Sect master. All the Devil Sect cultivators saluted. Xiaoling Yu was still confused because this matter was too sudden. While he was still at a loss, Old Man Li of the Record Hall came over. Congratulations, congratulations. Even if you didn't participate in the battle assembly, you still have the opportunity to enter the East Pole Devil Cave. Old Man Li said with a smile. Many of the East Pole Devil Sect cultivators were very puzzled just now. They didn't know why the sect master suddenly added an extra quota. Among the East Pole Devil Sect cultivators in the main hall, except for the woman surnamed Lu and Old Man Li, no one else knew about Xiaoling Yu's background. At this time, they were all looking at him curiously with suspicious faces. It was precisely because others didn't know his background that Xiaoling Yu felt that he was suddenly called and had the opportunity to enter the East Pole Devil Cave. It must have something to do with the woman surnamed Lu or Old Man Li. Entering the East Pole Devil Cave was a good thing for any disciple of the East Pole Devil Sect. It was an opportunity that could only be encountered by chance. Xiaoling Yu reckoned that with his relationship with the woman surnamed Lu, she definitely wouldn't help him with such a good thing. In that case, it could only be Old Man Li who had been throwing him an olive branch. Shaoling Yu indifferently replied, even if it's a good thing to act on someone else's behalf, they might not necessarily appreciate it. Old Manly didn't mind and said, whether or not they'll appreciate it, we'll only know after we enter the East Pole Devil Cave. Shaoling Yu directly said, I don't know what your goal is, but I must tell you that even if you give me some benefits, I might not necessarily give you anything in return. If you have any ideas or plans, it's better if you tell me now. Otherwise, you'll waste all your efforts on me. Old Manly shook his head and said, there's no rush. Since you don't want to come with me to the record hall, we'll talk inside the East Pole Devil Cave. You also want to go in? Shaoling Yu asked in astonishment. I'll go in every time. After Old Manly said this, he leisurely walked towards the back of the hall. Most of the cultivators in the hall began to walk towards the door, but Shaoling Yu stood there in a daze. When Luling Yu passed by, she stopped for a moment and said with a smile, be careful when you go in. There aren't only benefits inside. The stronger you are, the more dangerous it will be. Otherwise, why would there only be Earth Devil and Heavenly Devil cultivators every time? Without waiting for Shaoling Yu's reply, Luling Yu had already walked to the door. Shaoling Yu's thoughts churned for a long time before he bitterly smiled and walked towards the back of the hall. To tell the truth, Shaoling Yu didn't have the slightest interest in entering the East Pole Devil Cave. However, this matter had already been decided by the Devil Sect's sect master, and his true cultivation had more or less been seen through by the sect master. He had no reason to refuse and could only accept. After all, this wasn't a bad thing. It was much better than being besieged by so many experts. The East Pole Devil Palace was extremely large. Naturally, it wasn't possible to only have one meeting hall. The left, right, and back of the palace had a few side halls and secret rooms. These places weren't usually provided for the sect master's disciples, but the disciples who wanted to enter the East Pole Devil Cave were arranged to stay in these secret rooms. Shaoling Yu randomly chose a secret room in the back and calmly adjusted his state of mind. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Shaoling Yu, who was meditating, felt someone touch the door of the secret room and stood up to open it. Chapter 256. The East Extreme Devil Cave was a legend to the ordinary disciples of the East Extreme Devil Sect. Although it was a legend, there were very few people who could give a specific introduction to the East Extreme Devil Cave. This was because very few people had entered it, and even fewer people were able to come out from it. What made people feel even more helpless was that those Devil Sect disciples who came out from the East Extreme Devil Cave would never tell their fellow disciples about the situation inside. The more it was like this, the more mysterious the East Extreme Devil Cave was in the hearts of the disciples of the East Extreme Devil Sect. They yearned to be able to enter the East Extreme Devil Cave. As for the dangers they would encounter after entering, the disciples of the East Extreme Devil Sect didn't take it to heart. Although those who came out of the East Extreme Devil Cave would not speak of the situation inside, everyone could at least see one thing, and that was that the cultivation of those who came out of the East Extreme Devil Cave had increased by a large margin. Moreover, they would be taken special care of by the experts of the sect, and would be regarded as the future pillars of the sect. For an ordinary disciple of a third-rate sect like the East Pole Devil Sect, it was extremely difficult for them to advance by one level. Most of them had to endure for many years before they could do so. Entering the East Pole Devil Cave was an excellent opportunity for them to quickly increase their cultivation and position in the sect. For a devil cultivator who didn't lack adventurous spirit, taking a risk for such an opportunity wouldn't refuse. Almost all the cultivators who were about to enter the East Extreme Devil Cave, including Yu, had faces full of anticipation and unconcealable excitement. Only Shaoling Yu's face was relatively calm, without joy or worry. However, what Shaoling Yu didn't expect was that the entrance to the East Extreme Devil Cave was actually on this small island in the center of the lake, and it was inside the East Extreme Devil Palace. The entrance was in a side hall of the East Extreme Devil Palace. A pitch-black underground cave had gradually appeared under the joint casting of several true devil stage experts of the East Extreme Devil Sect. Shaoling Yu and the others were waiting in the hall while staring at the entrance. After a full hour, the seemingly light stone slab that covered the entrance of the cave was completely removed by several true devil stage experts. During the process of being moved, the slate was wrapped in a glow. When it was completely removed, the glow suddenly disappeared. However, the devil sect leader and the other true devil experts did not stop casting. They were trying their best to control the slate. It was as if the moment they relaxed, the slate would block the hole again. The entrance has been opened. Follow me in. Remember, you must follow me from the beginning. Don't wander around and don't move. Old Manly from the Hall of Records spoke in a low voice before taking the lead and jumping into the pitch-black cave entrance. First, the 3 heavenly demon stage disciples, including Fanyu, followed by the 3 earth demon stage disciples who had obtained the top 3 positions in the competition. They all looked nervous as they jumped down. Shaolin Yu only hesitated for a moment at the entrance of the cave before she also jumped into the darkness. Her body slowly descended. After about 10 breaths, Shaolin Yu finally felt her feet touch the ground. Just as Shaolin Yu landed on the ground, before he had the time to check his surroundings, he heard a loud bang coming from above. The faint light that was originally projected from above suddenly disappeared, and the surroundings became even darker. An Earth Demon stage disciple subconsciously released his true fire to illuminate the area. However, just as his true fire was released, it was extinguished. Pa! A crisp sound came from the front. Then, a palm-sized light appeared in front of them. Don't try to use other methods to create light. You can only use this here, and there's only one of it. Old Man Lee's voice came from the ball of light. Everyone took a closer look and realized that Old Man Lee was holding a dirt gray candle in his hand. The light was coming from the candle after it was lit. It was obvious that the candle was not an ordinary item. It was probably specially made. Follow me to the end of this path, and then there will be light. Although this path is not long, if you don't want to die, be honest and follow me. Don't make any unnecessary movements or words. Old Manly said as he held the candle and slowly walked forward. Everyone, including Shaolin Yu, followed closely behind, not daring to be slow. Whoosh! After walking for less than the time it took to drink a cup of tea, a demonic shadow suddenly pounced from the side, bringing with it a strong gust of wind. Everyone's faces changed and their hearts trembled. Humph! Beast, get out of my way! Old Manly, who was leading the way, shouted loudly. The candle's light suddenly spat out a fire snake, meeting the demonic shadow head-on. Crack! The demonic shadow let out a strange cry, as if it was very afraid of the fire snake. It immediately turned around and fled. Old Man Lee's expression was gloomy as he waited in place for a while. Then, he said, "All right, everyone continue forward." Just like this, they walked for a full 2 hours. Old Man Lee used the candle's fire snake to scare away 7 or 8 demonic shadows. Only then did everyone stop in front of a small bridge. Below the small bridge was a pool of lava. Billowing smoke rose from below, and waves of heat boiled. The small bridge was indeed small. It was only a foot wide, and could only allow one person to pass. The lava was no less than 500 feet away from the small bridge, but the lava that occasionally shot up from below could reach up to 1,000 feet high. In fact, there was more than one small bridge. This was because there were more than 10 stalagmite-like pillars in the lava pool. The small bridge was built between these pillars. When you cross this small bridge, the bridge will sway. You must stand firm. While ensuring that you don't fall, you must not think of flying as a means of transportation. Also, there is one more thing I need to tell you in advance. The more people there are on this small bridge, the harder it will sway. It can also be said that the fewer people there are, the safer it will be. After his explanation, Old Manly took the lead and moved his feet onto the small bridge that seemed to be made of metal chains. The originally motionless small bridge immediately began to tremble slightly. Old Man Lee's words had a deeper meaning. None of the people present were stupid. They all understood that if the bridge swayed too much and they couldn't hold on, they could attack other sect members to relieve their pressure. On this bridge, if it was difficult to even stabilize one's body, it would be very difficult to defend against a sneak attack. Once they were attacked, they definitely couldn't stand in place. Their feet were bound to leave the bridge. Shaolin Yu didn't understand why Old Man Li had explained this. Wasn't he purposely reminding everyone to kill each other in times of danger? To be able to fight their way into the top 3 in their respective realms, the people here were naturally not easy to deal with. However, no one was willing to walk in front. Everyone knew that if they walked in front, they would be vulnerable to sneak attacks from behind. No one dared to attack Old Man Li, so no one was willing to follow behind him. Haha, if I reach the other side and you haven't followed, then don't even think about coming over. In a moment, demonic creatures will fly up from below. If you are too far away, I won't be able to protect you. Old Man Li smiled as he spoke, and began to walk forward with large strides. While everyone was still digesting the meaning of these words, Fan Yu had already stepped onto the bridge, following closely behind Old Man Li. At this moment, everyone realized that if a powerful demonic creature flew up from below, whoever was closest to Old Man Li would be safer. This was a matter that could easily cause people to feel conflicted, and Fan Yu was the first person to make a choice. The others quickly followed. Shaolin Yu was the last one to step onto the bridge, but he still had a calm expression on his face. Everyone was on the bridge. The small bridge was indeed shaking violently, but everyone was still able to stand firm. Just as Old Man Li had said, the closer they got to the middle, the more the bridge shook. The 3 Earth Demon stage disciples were already showing signs of not being able to hold on. Everyone was still pushing forward. Although there were times when they almost fell, no one dared to attack their fellow disciples. They were all very restrained. Occasionally, a heavenly demon stage disciple would help an earth demon stage disciple. In front of Shaolin Yu was an earth demon stage disciple, and when everyone reached the middle, he kept swaying. The excitement and anticipation he had before entering the East Extreme Devil Cave had completely disappeared from his face, and in its place was a deep fear. Whoosh! A pillar of lava shot up from below, right in the middle of the small bridge. Other than Old Man Li, everyone was nervous, and the bridge shook even more violently. Roar! Just as the pillar of lava was about to hit the ground, a demonic beast's roar suddenly came from within. Then, a demonic creature bathed in fire, as if it only had one head, appeared and pounced towards everyone. Beast, get out of my way! Although Old Man Li's body was also shaking violently, he still had the candle in his hand shoot out a fire snake. Although its entire body was bathed in fire, the demonic creature was still very afraid of the fire snake. It only spat out a mouthful of lava at everyone on the small bridge, and then quickly fell down. The demonic creature retreated in fear, but the lava it spat out made everyone's bodies even more unstable. And because everyone's steps were not in sync, the small bridge shook even more violently. Ah! An earth demon stage disciple, because he couldn't stabilize his body, lost his footing and fell, and let out a miserable cry. Originally, earth demon stage cultivators weren't very weak, but after their feet left the small bridge, they couldn't keep their bodies afloat, and could only fall rapidly. Finally, they fell into the lava pool, and after a few flops, they disappeared. No one had the time to look or save their fellow disciple. Although there was one less person, the bridge was still shaking violently. Everyone found it difficult to adjust their steps after being frightened by the demonic creature. Only Shaolin Yu and Old Man Li were barely able to stabilize their bodies. As for the earth demon stage disciple in front of Shaolin Yu, he felt that he couldn't hold on any longer, but he didn't want to fall into the lava pool and be burned alive. In his panic, he first glanced at his fellow disciple in front of him, and then with a burst of energy, he was about to launch a sneak attack. However, just as this earth demon stage disciple was about to make a move, Shaolin Yu acted first. She didn't launch a sneak attack, but instead reached out to support him. Chapter 257. Shaolin Yu couldn't bear to watch any longer, so he decided to help. That earth demon cultivator wasn't in the wrong. He attacked his fellow sect member out of fear of death, but that didn't mean he was a vicious person. If it was Shaoling Yu, he would have also attacked the person in front of him to protect himself. After all, even though they were from the same sect, they didn't have much of a friendship. People were selfish. The higher their cultivation, the longer they lived, the more selfish they would be. It was just that their selfish methods were more clever and hidden. After crossing the middle section of the bridge gradually stabilized and everyone quickly reached the other side of the lava pool. Coming to the Eastern Devil Cave, they hadn't seen any benefits and had already lost an Earth Demon cultivator. This made everyone's hearts heavy. On the other side of the lava pool, there was only a dark cave. Old Man Lee only gave everyone a cup of tea's time to rest and recover before continuing forward with his candle. Along the way, many demons appeared, but they were all scared away by the fire snakes that came out of Old Man Lee's candle. After an hour, they reached the end of the cave. At the end of the cave was a bottomless abyss. Occasionally, the angry roars of demons would come out, causing everyone to tremble. On the other side of the abyss, there was a stone wall that stretched as far as the eye could see. On the stone wall, there were countless shining caves. Okay, I can only send you here. You can only rely on yourselves for the rest. Old Man Lee pointed at the stone wall in front of them and said, "Those shining caves are your opportunities. You all go in and return within 10 years. I will be waiting for you all here. Whether you come out or not, I will leave after 10 years because at that time, the sect's true demon experts will open the entrance." Everyone didn't immediately move. They all squinted their eyes and looked at the caves. Hearing the continuous roars of demons coming from the abyss, they all looked a bit timid. Of course, if anyone regrets it now, you can wait here with me. But if you do that, you will have wasted your trip. Old Man Lee added. In fact, everyone knew before coming that entering the Eastern Devil Cave not only brought opportunities, but also danger. Since they came, they naturally had the courage to face the danger. So after a moment of hesitation, someone jumped into the darkness of the abyss and flew towards the stone wall. In just a few minutes, apart from Shaoling Yu, all the disciples who had entered had flown away. They each chose a devil's den and disappeared into it. Shaoling Yu knew that Old Man Lee had something to say to him, so he waited and did not move. The nest's on the other side. The closer you are to the bottom of the abyss, the more dangerous it is to enter. Of course, the opportunities you can obtain are also greater, Old Man Lee said. What's the greatest danger and opportunity? Shaoling Yu pursed her lips and asked. You won't be able to encounter the greatest danger and the greatest opportunity. Don't look at our East Pole Demon sect as a third-rate sect. There are many hidden dangers in the East Pole Demon Cave. Even a spirit demon expert would not dare to touch it easily, and if a true demon-level cultivator is not careful, they could lose their life at any time. Based on your strength, you can go to one of those devil caves with glowing blue entrances. Old Man Lee explained with a smile. You know my specific strength? Shaoling Yu asked noncommittally. When Old Man Lee heard this question, he was stunned at first, but then he seemed to be full of confidence and said, "You have experienced the 9 tribulations and ascended, and now you are in the early stage of true demon. You don't think that just because I am in the late stage of heavenly demon, I can't see your strength, right?" "Ha, you can see very accurately, your eyes are like a torch," Shaoling Yu said with a laugh. Although Shaoling Yu admitted it, Old Man Lee felt that Shaoling Yu's tone was a bit thought-provoking, as if he was not praising him, but mocking him. "You must want to know what I want to say to you, but it's too early to say anything. Let's wait until you come back alive." Old Man Lee suddenly felt that he could not see through Shaoling Yu, so he did not want to be alone with him for too long, so he urged him. "That's fine." Shaoling Yu did not want to waste time with this old man, so after answering, he also jumped into the abyss. In Old Man Lee's eyes, a silver light flashed quickly, and Shaoling Yu disappeared without a trace. But looking at the direction the silver light disappeared in, Old Man Lee knew that Shaoling Yu went down into the abyss. Shaoling Yu continued to descend, and along the way, there were demons that tried to obstruct him, but he ignored them and dodged them with extreme speed. In just 100 breaths of time, Shaoling Yu had already found the Devil's Cave that was overflowing with blue light. Floating at the entrance of the Devil's Cave, Xiaoling Yu looked down and slightly frowned, because he was still unable to see the bottom of the abyss. However, on the stone walls below, there were entrances of other colors, and from the bottom of the abyss, there was a very obscure but powerful aura surging up. There were probably very powerful demons hidden below. Xiaoling Yu only stopped for a few breaths of time, then slowly entered the Devil's Cave, and carefully advanced. This Devil's Cave looked like a tunnel. It was 3 meters tall and 3 meters wide, and on both sides were seemingly solid stone walls that flashed with blue light. After advancing for about an hour, a dazzling blue demon beast blocked Xiaoling Yu's path. This demon beast was lying in a cave, and seemed to have been sleeping all this time. Now, it slowly opened its hazy eyes and glared at Xiaoling Yu with a bit of anger. Xiaoling Yu was a bit nervous at first, but when he saw that this demon beast was only a mid-stage devil king, he relaxed. The blue demon beast was like a lizard. After roaring twice at Xiaoling Yu, it saw that Xiaoling Yu did not leave, so it roared and charged at him. The speed of this demon beast was extremely fast. The moment it pounced, the entire cave was suddenly filled with a dazzling blue light. Just as Xiaoling Yu narrowed his eyes, the demon beast's 2 front claws had already pierced towards him side by side. If an ordinary Devil King stage cultivator was here, the moment the blue light flashed, they would have lost their judgment of the surrounding situation, and would have to bear the full brunt of this demon beast's attack. However, Xiaoling Yu was not an ordinary person, and the blue light did not affect him much. When the demon beast's front claws pierced towards him, he had already leaned to the side, dodging the sharp claws of the demon beast. Then, he bent his arm and used his elbow to smash the demon beast's head. With a bang, the demon beast, which was still charging forward, was stopped in its tracks by Xiaoling Yu's elbow, and its body immediately crawled to the ground. Not even a moment after the magical beast landed on the ground, its head, which had suffered a heavy blow, was split into pieces. This demon beast's cultivation was only at the Devil King stage, and its body quality could not withstand the powerful attack of a near top-grade demon weapon. It was normal for it to be killed by Xiaoling Yu. Xiaoling Yu naturally would not waste the corpse of this demon beast, and directly put it into the spirit beast bag of the strange cub that was still sleeping. What made Xiaoling Yu a little curious was that in the cave where the demon beast was originally crawling, there was actually a blue pearl. The blue pearl did not have a strong energy fluctuation, but its radiance was very dazzling. Just now, the demon beast was enveloped in blue light because it had this pearl on its body. Xiaoling Yu carefully observed for a while, but could not see the use of this blue pearl. However, he did not abandon it here, but kept it in his storage magic treasure. Continuing forward, after an hour, Xiaoling Yu walked in front of another cave, and also saw a demon beast crawling, but this demon beast's cultivation was at the late stage of the Devil King stage. The battle was completed very easily. For Xiaoling Yu, who could compete with a cultivator at the late stage of the Devil King stage, the late stage of the Devil King stage was really vulnerable. After killing this demon beast, Xiaoling Yu obtained another blue pearl, but he still did not know the use of this blue pearl. After a while, this tunnel-like demon cave came to an end, but there was a deep and dark hole that Xiaoling Yu could continue to move forward. The hole naturally extended downwards, and from the darkness of the hole, from time to time, there would be a red light shining. Seeing the red light, Xiaoling Yu was a little hesitant, because the red light looked a little familiar. Before entering this blue demon cave, Xiaoling Yu looked at the bottom of the abyss, and saw this red light. It could be imagined that this hole should be connected to another demon cave, and that demon cave should be shining with red light, which should be of a higher level and more dangerous than the blue demon cave. There was already a late-stage Devil King stage demon beast in the blue demon cave, and in the red demon cave below, there would definitely be a Devil King stage demon beast. After a little calculation, Xiaoling Yu felt that he should go down and take a look. Even if he encountered a late-stage Devil King stage demon beast, it was not impossible for him to win. After making up his mind, Xiaoling Yu took a step forward and prepared to jump down. However, just as one of his feet was hanging over the entrance of the cave, a stone slab suddenly appeared and completely sealed the entrance of the cave. On the stone slab, there were 4 circular grooves, and they seemed to be about the same size as the 2 pearls from before. Shaolin Yu immediately took out the 2 pearls, but hesitated. He only had 2 pearls, but there were 4 grooves on the stone slab, which made him a little confused. Obviously, in order to open this hole, he had to use pearls to fill these grooves, but how to fill them was definitely something he had to pay attention to. Originally, Shaolin Yu wanted to go to the Red Demon Cave, but now he directly turned back to the abyss, and if he continued to descend for a while, he would be able to find the entrance of the Red Demon Cave, but the powerful aura from the bottom of the abyss made him feel that it would be very dangerous to find the entrance of the Red Demon Cave from the abyss, and he might even alarm the powerful demon beasts below. After carefully looking at the stone slab for a while, Shaolin Yu saw something. There were 2 blurry engravings on the stone slab, one in the shape of a treasure box, the other in the shape of an open door, and the 2 engravings were between 2 pearls. Chapter 258. Shaolin Yu only hesitated for a moment before placing the 2 blue pearls into the 2 grooves. A crack appeared in the center of the stone slab, then slowly dissipated, and the pitch-black hole appeared once again. After 3 breaths, the stone slab completely disappeared, and Shaolin Yu directly fell into the hole. There were only Demon King stage beasts in the Blue Light Devil's Denver. With such a degree of danger, the rewards would not be very good. At least, it would not be of much use to Shaolin Yu. He felt that it would be more cost-effective to just jump down. Shaolin Yu's falling speed was not fast, so it took the time to drink a cup of tea to see a Red Devil Cave appear on his left. At this time, there was still a hole under his feet, but when his feet touched the darkness of the hole, a stone slab suddenly appeared, stopping Shaolin Yu from continuing to fall. Looking at the 4 grooves on the stone slab, Shaolin Yu knew that he had to go in the direction of the abyss from here to find the 2 red pearls. After another hour, Shaolin Yu arrived in front of a cave. A 3-headed snake-like magic beast with red light flashing all over its body was already flicking its tongue at him. As Shaolin Yu expected, this was a late true demon stage magical beast, and it did not have an ordinary bloodline. If Shaolin Yu wanted to continue down, or obtain benefits in this devil cave, he had to defeat this magical beast. As for the mid-true demon stage magical beast in front of him, it was almost negligible. With a thought, the silver moon broken blade was already in Shaolin Yu's hand. The 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs were also restless in his dantian. The primal chaos magic energy in Shaolin Yu's body was also rapidly circulating, causing his clothes to flutter even though there was no wind, causing his aura to continuously rise. The 3-headed snake saw that its warning did not scare the opponent away, and that the opponent was still increasing his aura, and immediately opened its 3 mouths, 3 snake tongues wrapped in red light, like 3 divine whips, snaking out, as if to directly bind the opponent. Shaolin Yu narrowed her eyes, and the silver moon broken blade danced rapidly. In an instant, blood splattered everywhere, and a few pieces of the snake's tongue fell to the ground. Although the snake's tongue was tough, it was as fragile as tofu under the sharpness of a divine artifact. GG. The 3-headed snake let out a series of painful and angry screams, and then it spat out 3 different colored poisonous mists. Shaolin Yu naturally didn't dare to underestimate the poisonous fog of a late-stage true demon beast. She immediately used her chaos power to form a defensive barrier to protect herself. What surprised Shaolin Yu was that in just a breath's time, his primal chaos light barrier was already corroded by the poison. He hurriedly took out the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs and surrounded himself with a divine light barrier. The demon-suppressing immortal orb was a top-grade immortal treasure. In addition, it was of the divine attribute, so it had an extremely strong restraining effect on the demonic energy. Therefore, no matter how powerful the poison mist was, it was unable to break through the divine light barrier they had cast. Less than a breath after the divine light shield was formed, a sharp horn grew out of each of the 3 heads of the 3-headed snake, and it stabbed fiercely at Shaolin Yu's divine light shield. Humph! Shaolin Yu coldly snorted, and a pair of silver wings appeared behind him. His body also turned into a silver light, moving around the cave, so that the three-headed snake's head couldn't hit his divine light shield. After seeing an opportunity, Shaolin Yu swung the silver moon broken sword and chopped at one of the snake's heads. The snake couldn't dodge in time, so it used the horn on its head to block. Its horn was many times tougher than its tongue, so it believed that it could block the opponent's broken sword. However, the result caused the snake to be both disappointed and terrified. The sharp horn on its body, which was the toughest part of its body, was actually split into two under the attack of the broken saber. When the silver moon broken sword chopped down, one of the heads of the three-headed snake instantly split, and it became a two-headed snake. And just as Shaolin Yu was about to expand his victory, the horns of the other two heads of the snake all flew out, and like sharp awls, they stabbed at Shaolin Yu. Shaolin Yu had 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs to defend himself, so he was naturally not afraid. Moreover, the two sharp awls were extremely fast, and he couldn't dodge in time even if he wanted to. He simply didn't dodge, and faced the two sharp awls, and continued forward, the silver moon broken sword in his hand still chopping at one of the snake's heads. What Shaolin Yu didn't expect was that even though the snake knew that his silver moon broken sword was incomparably sharp, it still chose not to dodge. Instead, it opened its mouth, and sharp sword-like teeth shot out like arrows. Shaolin Yu believed in the power of the demon-suppressing immortal orbs, so he still didn't dodge. With one slash, only one head of the snake was left. However, just as Shaolin Yu's sword chopped down, the two sharp awls stabbed at the same spot of the divine light barrier, one from the front and one from the back, and actually pierced through the barrier. This barrier was like a balloon, and when it was pierced, it would explode, and the sharp teeth that came after all hit Shaolin Yu's body. The snake was probably relying on the fact that it could lose another head without dying, so it took Shaolin Yu's slash head on. Shaolin Yu relied on the sturdy defense of the divine light barrier, and his own high-quality body to take the attack of the two sharp awls and a few sharp teeth head-on. However, the results of the two were different. The snake lost one head, but the sharp teeth were unable to pierce Shaolin Yu's body. The sharp teeth hit various parts of Shaolin Yu's body, and directly bounced off. The slight pain didn't affect Shaolin Yu at all. The snake seemed to have realized the power of its opponent and immediately wanted to escape. Just as its body moved, the silver moon broken blade came at its head again. The last head was also split open, and the three-headed snake immediately died on the spot. Its corpse was kept in the spirit beast bag by Shaolin Yu. At the place where the three-headed snake was entrenched, a red pearl was revealed. Shaolin Yu had just put away the red pearl when he suddenly felt a slight numbness on his body. Feeling it slightly, he couldn't help but be startled. The places on his body that were hit by the three-headed snake's sharp teeth seemed to have broken his skin, and the poison in those sharp teeth had invaded his body. Because Shaolin Yu's body quality was high, and the chaos demonic power in his body was of a higher level, and he had already cultivated a highly toxic body in the cultivation world, the three-headed snake's poison spread relatively slowly, and only now did it have some effect on him. The poison of a late-stage true demon three-headed snake was not easy to neutralize. Shaolin Yu circulated his power on the spot for a long time, but could only slow down the spread of the poison, and was unable to refine or expel it out of his body. Shaolin Yu only then realized that the problem was a little serious, and immediately dismissed the idea of going to the next cave. He found a random place in the cave and began to close his eyes to adjust his condition. When he was in a good state, he began to refine the poison with all his might. Shaolin Yu felt that although he wasn't afraid of a late-stage true demon, as long as the opponent had a slightly special ability, even if he could win, he would have to pay a certain price. The primal chaos true fire constantly spewed out from the chaos demonic infant's mouth, burning Shaolin Yu's body. Although the poison was powerful, it had to be refined in Shaolin Yu's body, and thus, Shaolin Yu's highly toxic body would be improved. However, using the primal chaos true fire to refine the poison was still a little slow. Shaolin Yu then used the curse technique that he had just obtained not long ago to speed up the process a little. Even so, Shaolin Yu used a full 2 years to completely refine the poison. However, the consumption of these 2 years was worth it. Now that Shaolin Yu released the poison flame again, it would definitely make a late-stage true demon cultivator fearful. The next cave was indeed a mid-stage true demon beast. Shaolin Yu only used the poison flame to cover the cave, and it only took a moment for the battle to end. With the 2 red pearls in hand, Shaolin Yu once again came to the cave, and his heart hesitated. Looking at the dark cave from time to time, Shaolin Yu knew that there was a purple light demonic cave below, and there must be a spirit demon beast hidden in it. A spirit demon beast, even if it did not have a noble bloodline, Shaolin Yu estimated that it would be extremely difficult for him to defeat it. Moreover, if there was a late-stage spirit demon beast below, he would not even have the chance to escape after going down. Therefore, Shaolin Yu felt that he must not take the risk, although the opportunity below may be greater. Shaolin Yu inserted the 2 red pearls into the stone slab's groove, and the stone slab immediately turned into a silver glow that wrapped Shaolin Yu's body, and then suddenly disappeared. After a moment of dizziness, Shaolin Yu staggered and appeared in a long corridor. Stabilizing his body, Shaolin Yu looked around again, and quickly walked to a stone table at the end of the corridor. On the stone table, there was a locked black iron box, and next to the iron box, there was a jade slip. Shaolin Yu immersed his mind into the jade slip, and his face became more and more gloomy. The jade slip said that to open this iron box, one must not use force, otherwise the iron box will self-destruct. Not only will the treasure inside be destroyed, the power created by the explosion of the iron box will not be weaker than the self-destruction of a late-stage true demon cultivator. To open this iron box, a key is needed, but there is no ready-made key, so the cultivator can only make it by hand. The structure of the key is extremely complicated. There are tens of thousands of holes of different sizes, and hundreds of thousands of saws of different shapes. Each of them must meet the requirements. As long as any one of them is wrong, the key cannot be made into the iron box. Shaolin Yu was so angry that he wanted to curse. Although he can make such a key, he will definitely fail countless times, and it will take a lot of time and energy. If he can't make the key within 8 years, Shaolin Yu will have to leave immediately, and according to his refining level, it is very likely that he will not be able to complete the key within 8 years. After thinking about it carefully, Shaolin Yu still felt that it was meaningless to waste time refining the key, and the treasure in the box may not be useful to him, so he gave up on refining the key and looked for the way back in the corridor. Chapter 259. The corridor was very long, so long that it took Shaolin Yu a whole month to reach the end. However, the end of the corridor was a demon's den. This demon's den did not extend in a straight line. Instead, it twisted and turned, and it seemed to be endless. Shaolin Yu walked in the twisting demon's den for another month, but he still did not reach the end. After hesitating for a long time, he did not give up and continued to move forward. Although this demon's den was winding, it did not diverge. There was only one path. Shaolin Yu guessed that this was not a maze. However, Shaolin Yu did not expect that after 2 whole years, he was still in this demon's den. Moreover, this demon's den did not seem to have an end. Shaolin Yu had left special markings on the path he had walked so that he would not repeat the same path. However, he did not encounter those markings again. This should not be the way out. I have to go back and think of another way. Shaolin Yu felt that he could not continue walking like this, so he turned around and rushed back. The special markings he had left behind along the way were still there, proving that Shaolin Yu was not walking in circles. As he had rushed back at full speed, it only took him half a year to return to the corridor and to the stone table again. Shaolin Yu carefully checked his surroundings again and again. However, he still did not find anything. He felt even more depressed. It seems that I have to create a key to open this metal box. Helpless, Shaolin Yu began to refine the key according to the records in the jade slip. Shaolin Yu had a lot of materials needed to refine the key. This was because many kinds of materials could be used to refine the key. Moreover, as long as the key was successfully refined, it would open the metal box. It did not matter what materials were used. He originally had nearly 8 years, but now he only had 5 years left. Moreover, even if he managed to refine the key, there might not be a way to leave this place. After a year, Shaolin Yu managed to refine the first key. However, he failed to open the lock. Because he was more familiar with refining the second key, it only took him half a year to refine the second key. However, he still could not open the lock. Shaolin Yu wasn't in a hurry. Instead, she carefully recalled the process of the two refinements and tried to find the key to her failure. The third key only took half a year, but the result was the same: it couldn't be opened. Shaolin Yu spent more than 2 years refining it 3 times. However, such meticulous refining also allowed Shaolin Yu's refining skills to improve by quite a bit. Furthermore, Shaolin Yu also discovered that if she continued to refine that complicated and peculiar key, it would be a shortcut to quickly improve her refining skills. At the very least, it would allow her soul's calculation ability to increase by a large margin. The fourth refinement only took 3 months. Although Shaolin Yu felt that he did not make any mistakes during the refinement process, the result was still disappointing. He continued to forge. When Shaolin Yu failed for the 10th time, he had been in the Eastern Devil Cave for nearly 10 years. If he couldn't leave, he could only wait for the next opening of the Devil Cave. This was a result that Shaolin Yu could not accept. As such, Shaolin Yu naturally had the idea of directly destroying the metal box. After all, although the self-destruction of a late-stage true demon expert was powerful, Shaolin Yu had activated all of his defensive measures. It might not be impossible for him to withstand it. Just as Shaolin Yu made up his mind and was about to take out the silver moon broken blade, a low voice with a strange meaning was heard. Shaolin Yu had been thinking about something. Moreover, there had been no abnormalities in this place for many years. This caused him to let down his guard, so he did not notice anyone approaching. Of course, it was also possible that the person's cultivation level was too high. Shaolin Yu's consciousness had been roaming around the area all this time, so he was unable to detect the other party's aura. Hearing the soft voice, Shaolin Yu's heart trembled. After returning to his senses, he turned around and saw an old man wearing a gray robe slowly walking from the opposite side. Shaolin Yu just glanced at him, and a warning arose in his heart. He couldn't see the other party's cultivation and realm, and the aura that faintly overflowed from the other party made his consciousness floating outside feel danger. The realm of the person who came must have exceeded the true demon stage, at least a master of the early stage of spirit demon. Then, thinking of the various rumors of the Eastern Devil sect, Shaolin Yu could actually confirm the identity of the person who came. The other party was very likely to be the great elder of the Eastern Devil sect. He was also the only master of the Eastern Devil sect. Shaolin Yu of the Eastern Devil sect's Imperial Beast Hall greets the senior. Shaolin Yu thought of the identity of the other party and cupped his fists respectfully. It was not that he respected or feared the old man, but he estimated that the old man might have a way to take him out. You are at the true demon stage. Why haven't I seen you before? Could it be that you just advanced? Or have you just joined the Eastern Devil sect? The old man slowly walked over and asked in confusion. This kid has just joined the Eastern Pole Devil sect, Shaolin Yu replied calmly. With your true demon stage cultivation, why are you in the Imperial Beast Hall? Even if you are the steward of the Imperial Beast Hall, isn't it a bit overkill? The old man asked again. Since the sect has arranged it, I will naturally follow. Shaolin Yu said perfunctorily. I see that your realm is only at the early stage of true demon, but your aura is not weaker than the late stage of true demon. No wonder you can come here. The old man first judged, then pointed to the iron box and said, the key hasn't been refined yet, right? Shaolin Yu shook his head with a wry smile and replied, the structure of this key is too complicated. I didn't have much experience in refining before. Now that I have been in the Eastern Devil Cave for nearly 10 years, I still can't refine the key. It's almost 10 years, it will be too late if we don't go out. The old man frowned. I am fortunate to have met Senior today. Please teach me how to get out. Shaolin Yu said sincerely. If you want to get out, you must open this iron box before the 10 years are up. Otherwise, you can only wait for the next time. However, since you already have the cultivation of true demon stage, waiting here for a few more years is not bad. As long as you can successfully refine the key, your refining level will rise a lot. The old man said casually. I still have some things to do outside. I really don't dare to stay here for long. Xiaoling Yu shook his head and said. How about this? I will help you refine the key. If you can get out in time, the things in the iron box will belong to me. How about it? The old man hesitated for a moment, then asked with a smile. Xiaoling Yu said straightforwardly, it's all up to Senior. Xiaoling Yu really didn't care about the things in the iron box. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen to find a way out in the beginning. Wait for a moment. The old man said and sank his demonic sense into the jade slip. After a few breaths, he whispered, this key is a bit interesting. Then, materials appeared one by one and were melted under the old man's true fire. 10 days later, the old man managed to create a key. However, he still failed to unlock the door. The old man didn't take the failure to heart. Instead, he melted the materials again and then added a few more materials. After 10 days, he completed the second refinement. To Xiaoling Yu's surprise, the second key refined by the old man successfully opened the iron box. A ray of light gushed out from the iron box, and a jade-like demonic treasure slowly floated up. The old man grabbed the demonic treasure in his hand. After taking a closer look, he laughed and said, not bad, not bad. It's a high-quality, high-grade demonic tool. Hearing that it was only a high-grade demonic tool, Xiaoling Yu didn't care about it at all. The old man saw that Xiaoling Yu's expression was not only not nervous or regretful, but also had a sense of relief. This made him very confused. After all, a high-grade demonic tool was very rare for a true demon cultivator. Why didn't this kid care at all? You should be able to guess my identity, right? The old man didn't stand on ceremony. He directly put away the demonic treasure and then suddenly asked. Senior is the supreme elder of my devil sect. Xiaoling Yu nodded in response. Then do you know why I have been in seclusion in the East Extreme Devil Cave? The old man seemed to be very interested and then asked. This kid doesn't know. Xiaoling Yu shook his head and replied. I have 2 reasons here. One is that I can't tell you, and the other is that I want to open more treasure boxes here. The old man said indifferently. Xiaoling Yu didn't know why the old man said this to him, so he remained silent and didn't dare to talk. This was the first time he encountered a spirit demon stage master, but he felt that if he really fought against a spirit demon stage cultivator, he would have absolutely no chance of winning. He may not even be able to escape. The gap between true demon stage and spirit demon stage is bigger than the gap between earth demon and heavenly demon. Xiaoling Yu can win against a true demon late stage. He thought that he could fight against a spirit demon early stage, but now it seems that he was too arrogant. Our East Pole Demon Sect's greatest reliance isn't my spirit demon cultivation, nor is it the demon stone veins. It's the East Pole Demon Cave. When the old man saw that Xiaoling Yu was silent, he continued, my East Pole Devil Sect's founder discovered this Devil's Cave when he was traveling in his early years. Then, he established the East Pole Devil Sect on top of this Devil's Cave. Originally, in the East Pole Devil Sect, only the sect masters of each generation knew about the existence of the East Pole Devil's Cave. When this old man cultivated to the spirit demon stage, this Devil Cave began to open to some of the outstanding disciples in the sect. For many years, you are the first one who can meet me in this Devil Cave. When Xiaoling Yu heard this, he replied, it's this kid's honor. Oh, it's not an honor, but your strength is enough, otherwise, how can you defeat a true demon late-stage magical beast, and how can you be teleported here? The old man shook his head and said. Xiaoling Yu knew that this old man has been here for many years, so he must know this place very well, so he didn't quibble, but asked, there are so many treasures in this Devil Cave, won't other sects make a big fuss about it? Chapter 260. If the disciples who enter this place go out, they might leak the secrets of this place. Xiaoling Yu replied. All the disciples of the East Pole Devil sect who go out will not go out and speak carelessly. When they go out, they will swear on their souls that if they leak anything about this place, their souls will scatter. The old man shook his head and said, "But we can't rule out the possibility that someone will leak the information here at the cost of their own lives." Shaolin Yu added, "Facts have proven that everyone cherishes their lives very much. Moreover, the disciples who are sent in will be carefully investigated before they are sent in. If they aren't absolutely reliable, they won't be sent in. Generally, those who are sent in are those who have been in the East Pole Devil sect since they ascended to the Devil world. They came from the lower realms, so even if they have relatives or friends in the Devil world, they might not necessarily be on the Blood Moon continent. There's no benefit for them to leak this secret." The old man said confidently. "That's true." Shaolin Yu nodded and said, "The reason why he was qualified to enter was probably because he had just ascended. I'm very curious. Since you have just entered my East Pole Devil sect and have such a high cultivation, why did they send you down? Why do they trust you so much? It's reasonable to say that true Devil stage cultivators can't come down." The old man asked doubtfully. "Maybe it's because I have just ascended." Shaolin Yu quickly thought in his heart and said. If he didn't explain, he was worried that this old man would be suspicious and might leave him here forever. After cultivating for so many years, Shaolin Yu had experienced many things and met many powerhouses. He was well aware that if some of the demonic paths experts had any suspicions about someone, they might directly kill them. "Did you just ascend?" the old man asked in surprise. "Yes." Shaolin Yu nodded and replied. "Even if you ascended after going through the 9 tribulations, your cultivation should only be at the peak of the late Devil King stage. Even if you advance to the early True Devil stage, how could you have an aura not weaker than the late True Devil stage? How could you defeat the late True Devil stage demonic beast and come here?" The old man stared at Shaolin Yu in disbelief. "Kid, you're just lucky. You almost lost your life in the previous battle." Shaolin Yu forced himself to remain calm. "Ha, don't try to fool me. No matter how lucky an early true demon cultivator is, he can't beat a late true demon beast." The old man smiled and said, "Since they sent you in, they must believe in you. However, with your cultivation, it will be very difficult for you to improve further. Why don't you stay and accompany this old man to open more treasure boxes to seek opportunities?" "I just ascended not long ago, and I want to know more about the Devil world outside," Shaolin Yu replied noncommittally. "If you want to go out, I won't stop you, but you probably won't be able to make it in time." The old man's expression didn't change. "There should still be 3 months before the 10-year deadline. Will we be able to make it in time?" Shaolin Yu frowned. "Even if you leave now, it will take at least half a year to reach the place." The old man said with a smile, as if he was gloating. "Senior, please teach me how to get out." Shaolin Yu was anxious. He cupped his fists and begged. "Don't worry, just wait." The old man pointed at the stone table and said leisurely. Shaolin Yu was surprised to find that there was a crack in the middle of the stone table. The stone table had been split into 2, and the crack in the middle was slowly expanding. After waiting for 4 hours, the crack expanded to a width that allowed a person to pass through, and a pitch-black hole appeared. From this hole, if you walk at full speed, you can reach the abyss in half a year if there are no powerful demon beasts blocking you. The old man pointed at the hole and said, "What's the strongest demon beast in there?" Shaolin Yu asked. "There are some places that are very vast, and there are many demon beasts with different strength. Generally speaking, the stronger you are, the stronger the demon beasts you will encounter. If you have the strength of true demon late stage, it is very likely that you will encounter a spirit demon stage demon beast." The old man replied seriously. "Thank you, Senior, for your guidance." Shaolin Yu responded and fell into the darkness of the hole. Even if he had to fight a spirit demon stage demon beast, he didn't want to continue to stay here. This place is too strange. Shaolin Yu doesn't know if he can hold on until the next opening day of the East Extreme Devil Cave, and if he can't make it back this time, Who can guarantee that he can catch up the next time? Moreover, with a spirit demon stage expert, he can't guarantee that many of his secrets won't be discovered, and he can't believe that this old man won't do it. So in any case, he needs to try, and he doesn't rule out that the old man deliberately intimidated him in order to keep him. What makes Shaolin Yu depressed is that the darkness is the same as the darkness when he first entered the East Extreme Devil Cave. It will limit any light source. Even Shaolin Yu's primal chaos true fire can't reflect the slightest light here. Soul force can come out of the body to form a consciousness, which can help Shaolin Yu to identify the direction and alert the surroundings. Under the exploration of his consciousness, Shaolin Yu moved forward at full speed, but as the Supreme Elder said, this road is very long, and it is also very winding, and it will never end. After walking for 10 days, Shaolin Yu found the aura of a demon beast in front of him, but now the road is not wide, and he can't go around it. Continuing to move forward, he felt that the demon beast was only at the heavenly demon middle stage, so he continued to run, and when he was close to the location of the demon beast, the wings of speed appeared behind him. A silver light flashed and disappeared. Although the magical beast raised its head to take a look, it did not see anything and crawled back down. In this way, 2 months later, Shaolin Yu was still running in this dark devil cave, but finally, he reached an open place. How open this place is, Shaolin Yu doesn't know, because his consciousness can't completely cover it. It is precisely because this place is too big that he can't determine which direction is the real way out, so he must open his consciousness to the maximum to help him find the way. But Shaolin Yu also knows that it is extremely easy to attract the attention of a spirit demon stage demon beast, because the spirit demon stage demon beast is much higher than him, and it is easy for them to perceive the fluctuations of his consciousness. Time waits for no man. Shaolin Yu has no time to be careful, he can only take risks to find a way out. Occasionally, when he feels the aura of a powerful demon beast, Shaolin Yu will choose to take a detour, but most of the demon beasts will attack him. Shaolin Yu can directly rely on his speed to avoid the demon beasts of the early or middle stage true demon stage, but if he encounters a demon beast of the late stage true demon stage, Shaolin Yu will most likely have to stop and fight before he can escape under the condition of seriously injuring or killing the opponent. It took a full 5 days. Shaolin Yu experienced dozens of big and small battles, and finally found a way out. Although there were several dangerous encounters, bloody battles, and injuries, but fortunately, he didn't encounter any demon beasts of the spirit demon stage. Looking at the tunnel-like devil cave, Shaolin Yu took a long breath and plunged into it. What made Shaolin Yu vomit blood was that in less than 100 breaths of time, there was a violent and powerful aura in front of him. Just by the impact of this aura, Shaolin Yu found it difficult to stabilize his body. One can imagine what level of demon beast he is about to face. Shaolin Yu originally wanted to retreat, but he has been detected and locked on by the demon beast. If he retreated to an open place to fight, it should be more disadvantageous for him, so he decided to stay in this narrow tunnel. After all, Shaolin Yu is not familiar with the darkness, and the demon beast lives here all year round. The darkness has no effect on it at all. As for Shaolin Yu's speed, even with the blessing of the wings, he can only compete with a late-stage true demon stage cultivator. It is simply not comparable to the existence of the spirit demon stage. The silver moon blade has already appeared in Shaolin Yu's hand, and the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs are also waiting in his dantian. When the demon beast of the spirit demon stage approached, Shaolin Yu stretched out one of his arms, and a burst of poisonous demon flame spewed out. Perhaps it had sensed Shaolin Yu's powerful aura, or it was afraid of the poisonous fog, or perhaps it felt that it couldn't use its full power here, but the demonic beast that was at least at the early stage of the spirit demon realm suddenly stopped when it was about to approach Shaolin Yu, and then slowly retreated. Shaolin Yu slightly frowned, but still resolutely moved forward 10 feet, and the demon beast also retreated 10 feet at the same time. Shaolin Yu continued to move forward, but it still retreated. Although the demon beast kept retreating, it didn't hide far away, and its posture was just to block Shaolin Yu's path. Shaolin Yu naturally didn't want to waste time like this, and the two sides confronted each other for a while. Then Shaolin Yu began to speed up. At first, the demon beast was still retreating at the same speed, but after an hour, it suddenly stopped and rushed towards Xiaoling Yu, as if it has nowhere to retreat. In order to rush back in time, Xiaoling Yu naturally can't retreat, and can only brace himself and face the demon beast with the silver moon blade. However, at the next moment, Xiaoling Yu's consciousness discovered that a tail had already reached his chest. Bang! The tail didn't give Xiaoling Yu any time to prepare, and it swept fiercely on his primal chaos light shield, and although the power of the tail has weakened a lot, it still firmly hit Xiaoling Yu's chest. Puff! Even though Xiaoling Yu's body quality is close to that of a top-grade demon weapon, but after being hit like this, his blood and qi surged, and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. With such a powerful attack, why did you keep retreating just now? After Xiaoling Yu steadied himself, he couldn't help but criticize in his heart, and at the same time, he took this more seriously. The demon beast seemed to have gained some confidence from this attack, and it whipped out another tail. What made Xiaoling Yu even more surprised was that after a few moments, the tail actually turned into 9, and every single one of them was exactly the same. Chapter 261. The 9 tails were like 9 godly whips, whizzing toward Qin Nan with countless afterimages. Xiaoling Yu didn't dare to hold back anymore. 6 true devil immortal orbs flew out at the same time, circling around his head at an extremely fast speed, and instantly projected a sacred light curtain. Boom! Boom! The sound of explosions kept coming out. Even the supreme great immortal treasure's defensive barrier couldn't withstand it, and when the 4th tail swept over, the sacred light curtain collapsed. Xiaoling Yu shouted softly, and fiercely slashed out with the silver moon broken blade. The 5th tail was directly cut off under the sharpness of the silver moon broken blade, and blood splattered on Xiaoling Yu's face. But the next 4 tails swept Xiaoling Yu's body again, and Xiaoling Yu's body was swept away again, and the crisp sound of bones cracking continuously came out, making his whole body unbearably painful, and he felt that the bones in his body were about to fall apart. Xiaoling Yu experienced the power of the spirit demon stage firsthand this time, and the opponent's attack could easily injure him. There was almost no suspense in this battle. Xiaoling Yu hurriedly retreated, and at the same time, he fed himself a few healing pills. Fortunately, the demon beast didn't chase after him, and it seemed that it didn't want to let Xiaoling Yu continue to move forward, and it didn't intend to fight Xiaoling Yu to the death. However, even if Xiaoling Yu can't beat it, it's not like he can't fight back. At least, the silver moon broken blade just now hurt the other party, and because of this, the other party may not dare to pursue him. At this time, Xiaoling Yu was in a dilemma. If he continues to move forward, there will be a spirit demon stage demon beast blocking him, and if he retreats, there is a possibility that he will encounter a spirit demon stage demon beast again, and he will definitely lose the opportunity to go back. Anyway, it's not a smooth road. Xiaoling Yu felt that it's better to continue moving forward according to the plan. No matter what, he can't be left in the East Extreme Devil Cave. Making up his mind, Xiaoling Yu didn't wait for his injuries to recover, and rushed forward again. The torrential poisonous flames surged like a tide, and the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs opened the way side by side. Holding the silver moon broken blade, and flapping his wings, Xiaoling Yu quickly arrived at the place where the spirit demon stage demon beast was entrenched. As soon as he arrived, several tails swept across the air, and the poisonous flames seemed to have no effect on them, and the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs were also swept away by the tails at the same time, 2 tails, and arrived in front of Xiaoling Yu. The opponent's attack speed was still as fast as before, not giving Xiaoling Yu any time to react. Xiaoling Yu had no choice but to swing his silver moon broken blade at one of the tails. The tail, blood like an arrow, and blood like an arrow's like an arrow. By Xiaoling Yu T.S. Xiaoling Yu is the Xiao Zhao's. T's Ling Yu T test blood's body to the end Xiaoling Yu's body T. This time, Xiaoling Yu was once again repelled by the silver moon broken immortal orbs, and his injuries were even more serious. If it weren't for Xiaoling Yu's high physical quality, he wouldn't have been able to face the silver moon broken immortal orbs twice, and he would have been obliterated in the first encounter. His injuries are too serious. Xiaoling Yu estimated that he can attack 2 more times at most, and if he can't defeat the silver moon broken immortal orbs, he will die here. His physical quality is high, so his recovery is very slow, and he doesn't have much time left. If he can't meet up with the others in half an hour, he can only stay in this devil's cave. Making up his mind, Shaolin Yu took a moment to adjust his breath, and then he rushed over again. Once again, the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs opened the way. Shaolin Yu was wrapped in torrential devil flames, holding the silver moon broken immortal sword, and his fingers were constantly forming seals. When the silver moon broken immortal sword swept over with 7 tails, the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs blocked one of the tails, but the last one was still cut off by the silver moon broken immortal sword. This time, Shaolin Yu wasn't repelled in the first exchange, but after the silver moon broken immortal orbs, the silver moon broken immortal sword's 6 tails rushed over together. Shaolin Yu roared, and the chaotic devil seal, infused with an intermediate devil curse, whizzed out and exploded in the middle of the silver moon broken immortal orb's 6 tails. Roar! After the chaotic devil seal exploded, Shaolin Yu heard the silver moon broken immortal orbs roar in pain from the silver moon broken immortal orbs. Shaolin Yu didn't dare to stop, and once again activated the chaotic devil seal, continuously bombarding the silver moon broken immortal orbs. The silver moon broken immortal orbs continued, and only after Shaolin Yu bombarded it 5 times did the silver moon broken immortal orbs truly come close. Only then did Shaolin Yu see the silver moon broken immortal orbs' appearance. It was a fox-like silver moon broken immortal orbs, but the silver moon broken immortal orbs was at least 10 times bigger than an ordinary fox, and its body was covered in pure black fur, but it had a pair of bright, ruby-like eyes, and several tails that were still emitting smoke behind it. 9-tailed fox? Shaolin Yu was shocked, because the 9-tailed fox was supposed to be an immortal beast with a bloodline that was infinitely close to that of a divine beast. How could it appear in the demon realm and become a silver moon broken immortal orbs? If this 9-tailed fox was mutated, then it was a mutated immortal beast, and its bloodline should be no less than that of a divine beast. No wonder it had such powerful strength. If Shaolin Yu didn't have the incomparably sharp divine weapon, the 6 demon immortal orbs, and the quality of his body that was close to that of a supreme-grade immortal artifact, he would have already lost his life to the silver moon broken immortal orbs. At this time, the 9 tails of the silver moon broken immortal orbs were severely damaged, which would certainly greatly weaken its own strength, otherwise it wouldn't have come to face Shaolin Yu in person. What made Shaolin Yu a little puzzled is that the strength of the mutated 9-tailed fox should be more than this. After all, it has the cultivation of spirit demon stage, and it should be able to easily defeat him. Just as Shaolin Yu was pondering, the 9-tailed magic fox's body swayed. 8 of its 9 heavily injured tails were separated from its body. The 8 tails also turned into a solid silver moon broken immortal orbs in an instant. What's even more shocking is that the 8 silver moon broken immortal orbs have the aura of spirit demon stage. Innate divine ability? Shaolin Yu was shocked, and suddenly remembered the ancient book's description of 9-tailed immortal fox's innate divine ability. Originally, there was only 1 silver moon broken immortal orbs, and Shaolin Yu was seriously injured, and he used all his strength to force it to appear. Now that the other party has activated its innate divine ability, Shaolin Yu's intuition is getting worse and worse. However, Shaolin Yu also knows that as long as he can withstand the other party's innate divine ability, the other party can only be slaughtered by him. So, he let the 6 demon-suppressing immortal orbs hover around his body, and put on a defensive posture, waiting for the other party to attack. Shaolin Yu is very clear in his heart that with his current ability and state, and under the premise of the other party activating its innate divine ability, there is no hope of winning. But what he never thought was that, whether it was because of the injury or because of other reasons, as soon as the other party activated its innate divine ability, the bodies of the 8 silver moon broken immortal orbs began to tremble. After a few moments, the 8 silver moon broken immortal orbs turned back into 8 tails and returned to the back of the silver moon broken immortal orbs. Although the innate divine ability was not successfully activated, the silver moon broken immortal orbs still became extremely weak at this time. Its cultivation has been completely exhausted when it activated its innate divine ability. Not only is its body very weak, the silver moon broken immoral orbs can't even stand stably at this time, and it looks like it is about to fall. In the end, it couldn't hold on, and its small body fell to the ground, panting. Looking at the silver moon broken immoral orbs, it looks like it has exhausted all the energy of its life and is waiting for death. What made Xiaoling Yu feel a little sad was that the silver moon broken immoral orbs had tears dripping down from the corners of the silver moon broken immoral orbs, like a sad woman. In this situation, Xiaoling Yu really can't do anything to the silver moon broken immoral orbs, and his heart was a little sad. The silver moon broken immoral orbs crawled in place for a while, and as if it has recovered some of its strength, it turned around and slowly crawled away. Xiaoling Yu followed behind, and after about a cup of tea's time, they came to a small cave. In this cave, there was actually a little magic fox sleeping soundly. Although the fox is small, it has already grown 6 tails, and its aura is not weaker than that of a late-stage demon king. Xiaoling Yu is also an experienced person, and he has been taking care of young beasts in the Imperial Beast Hall for many years. He can see that this little fox should have been born not long ago. This can also explain why the silver moon broken immoral orbs tried to stop Xiaoling Yu from coming over, and why it is so weak. If not for the fact that it was just born, the silver moon broken immoral orbs could definitely kill Xiaoling Yu easily, and it definitely wouldn't have failed to activate its special ability. Xiaoling Yu knows that he passed by luck today, but it is difficult for him to feel the slightest bit of joy and relief. He is not a cold-blooded person, and when he saw the silver moon broken immoral orbs crying beside its child, the corners of his eyes also turned sour. However, Xiaoling Yu is also not a weak-hearted person. If he wants to move forward, as long as there is someone in front of him, he can only choose to fight. But to Xiaoling Yu's surprise, this is the end of the demon's den, and there is no way out. Did I go the wrong way? This suspicion arose in Xiaoling Yu's heart. After a few minutes, he prepared to leave and return to the open dark area to find a way out. Before leaving, Xiaoling Yu threw a healing elixir to the silver moon broken immoral orbs, perhaps to make up for the little bit of guilt in his heart. Squeak squeak! After throwing the elixir, Xiaoling Yu had just turned around when he heard the silver moon broken immoral orbs call out to him. He turned around again. The silver moon broken immoral orbs did not consume the elixir. Instead, it used its 2 front paws to pick up its child and slowly brought it in front of Xiaoling Yu. You mean, you want me to take it away? Xiaoling Yu asked in surprise. The silver moon broken immoral orbs nodded silently with tears in its eyes. Xiaoling Yu can clearly feel that the silver moon broken immoral orbs on the silver moon broken immoral orbs are getting weaker and weaker. It is likely that it will not be long before it dies, and the elixir he gave it will not be able to save it. All right. Xiaoling Yu stretched out his arms and took the little fox. I will definitely take good care of it. This is a promise to a mother, and Xiaoling Yu believes that he will be able to keep it. You're tuning into the Mythic Realms YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.